I'm not the guy.
We're definitely organized for tonight.
Right, that's how I feel. Don't see it. Okay. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Untitled Car Project. This is our 37th episode.
Woo!
I'm Rob Spring.
Jeremy Molt.
I'm Grant Gonzalez.
Tonight, we're going to be joined by Chris Mayo of High Octane Dads. He is not on the line yet, but we'll be calling him in a little while.
Short little minute.
Just covering some random stuff that we were just talking about. This is the holidays. We are not guaranteeing we're going to have a show out every Sunday from now until after the first of the year. We're going to try. Maybe we'll get another episode in. This one didn't even come out until after Christmas. So I guess you guys won't notice until there isn't a show.
They'll see our Santa hats at least.
Till the week after Christmas.
Yeah.
New Year's.
Ian's out again. He kind of is a hit or miss. He works a lot, does a lot of out-of-town stuff. Thankfully, he was able to come in last week and knock one out for us while I was out of town. So we're all kind of scattered. Starting the show today, I saw the new proposed 2025 Shelby Cobra 427.
Wait, what? How did I miss that?
I don't know. How did you miss that?
I don't know. So
Yeah.
Is that the coolest thing we've seen this week?
Well, yeah, we've kind of run off of that a little bit
No,
just because of the
Not me, anyway. I didn't see it.
bad weather and stuff. There's not very many cool things out there.
Oh, I've saw some cool things.
Okay, cool.
We'll save that for later.
All right.
But I didn't even know that they were making a new version of that. What?
Well, it's Shelby, right?
Yeah.
And it's a 427, which is pretty cool, 7-liter.
Yeah.
Is that a stock block just punched out?
I know. Well, I don't know. I didn't.
That would be interesting.
Honestly,
I'm looking it up.
the introduction, do that. The introduction that I saw to it was pretty lame. It was put out by some random YouTuber or whatever, and their pictures didn't even mash. Like they showed in one picture what looked like a GT500 Mustang dressed up a little bit, and it looked pretty cool. It was supposedly a 427, blah, blah, blah. And then the next picture, I'm assuming they were saying it was the same car, had completely different body lines, had a different rear end. It looked like something foreign. And I'm like, okay, if you put this together on purpose, this looks terrible. It doesn't match. What are you trying to pull over here? Mm-hmm. So I went and looked for some other information on it. And it's legit, apparently. There's a 427 coming out by Shelby.
Shelby America? Or
yeah.
I'm trying to find this right now.
Yeah. And I know the information is not real good. Mm-hmm. So
maybe because it's still in the
in the design phase.
Production,
Yeah. But some of the stuff that I saw, if it's legit, looks pretty cool.
Okay.
I'm interested in a 427
Oh,
Mustang.
yeah.
That's kind of neat.
That would be fun to see the numbers on and even watch her,
Yeah, they were claiming, around 650 horsepower or something like that.
So do you know, is this from Ford with the Shelby name, or is this from Shelby America?
I think it's from Shelby.
So if it's from Shelby, why I bring that up is because right now they're making the Shelby 1000. And if you're going from a supercharged 1000 block motor to a 427, like how do you top that naturally aspirated? Unless that's supercharged. And then,
I don't actually remember now.
Yeah.
Because I saw a bunch of conflicting information, I thought it was naturally aspirated.
Okay. Interesting.
There's a market for everybody. Some people want the turbos or superchargers. Other people don't.
Yeah.
So you put out the 1000, that car's not for everybody. But if they see a naturally aspirated 7-liter, that could be cool.
I agree. But I think what also makes it a tough sell currently is because the GTD, especially the performance we just saw the Nürburgring.
The price difference.
Let's talk about that.
The price difference is where that's at.
Well,
so the GTD is a $400,000 car.
I thought they said it was $249.
No.
$400,000.
Did they announced it $400 grand?
Yeah.
I think the numbers I heard were 350 plus.
Yeah.
It was ungodly expensive.
Oh yeah, it's out of this world expensive. So a 7-liter Shelby 427.
Yeah,
That's in the realm of, 100 to 130 or 150 at the top end.
Yeah.
That's something you can actually afford.
If you can get
Are they really that low?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the truck was 130 or 180 or something.
I don't know. Pricing's all over the map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inflation.
I don't think it's
something.
inflation. I think it's just
Yeah.
model.
I'm really surprised the GTD is that much.
Yeah.
I'm still then on the boat saying even though I'm a Ford guy, I still will say the Z06 is still the best bang for buck car you can get.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
What
agree.
was its time around Nuremberg?
I
don't-
Let me
did they
I
even
think it
run
was
it?
like 7. Yeah, they did.
Okay.
I think it was like 704. Let me double check real fast.
And who cares? How many of us get to do that?
Right?
But
we don't.
but it's a
No.
good benchmark for the what.
No,
it's
I understand.
capable of.
Yeah. I think it's cool. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But okay, so I don't know the numbers on the Z06 yet. Go ahead if you have it.
Okay. The numbers for the Z06 in 2024 was 7 minutes, 10 seconds, and 51.
Okay, so
that's
14-second
Almost
difference.
14, yeah.
Big freaking whoop. You know, for a $180,000 car versus a $400,000
Right.
car, 10 seconds or 14 seconds. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll take the 180. Thanks.
Okay.
The other thing I'd be curious of is what does the either A, Shelby Mustang run it in, or
Yeah.
the factory GT.
Oh, way slower. But okay, still
I got
here's
those
the other thing. Here's the other thing with that. It's not the same driver.
That's true.
True.
That's a big
It's a
difference.
big difference.
Okay. Who knows how much prep they put into the driver of the Z06 versus the guy that did the GTD, which I know he put a lot of prep in.
Yep.
They
They did pick a good guy.
well, 100%. They wanted to prove a point. You know, you got to have somebody that has that track memorized and practiced, and
Oh yeah,
so
100%.
so there's those differences.
I'm going to say two things. First off,
I bet you're going to say a lot more than
I'm going to say a lot more two things. I probably should have said the ZR1 when that comes available.
Yeah.
Because that will be interesting to see what they'll do
Because
versus
that's 1,000 horse, right?
1,000 horse.
1064 or something.
The other thing is, so the 2020 Shelby GT500, what that put down for its Nürburgring time was, that doesn't make any sense. I was going to say 2 minutes.
No way.
Yeah. Hang on.
Sub 7 is phenomenal.
Yeah. 7 minutes, 39 seconds, and 28.
Again,
But-
different driver.
Yeah. Verifying that's a.
I'd be curious with
2020
the
though.
same driver in the Mustangs.
Absolutely, because
and-
that would be the realistic test.
And not
right?
necessarily the same driver in the Corvette, but somebody that knows that Corvette and knows the track.
Sure. Yeah, maybe the same level of experience.
Yes.
And yeah, because that's like putting them both on a racetrack. One's going to win,
Oh, yeah. For sure.
and it could be any number of things. He slips a little bit in one corner. Well, there's 0.3, or
Yeah.
there's 2.5 seconds because he had to recover, or who knows?
So then, how do you determine a car's benchline time then, which is good? If driver comes into air and you could have the crappiest driver drive the best car and they won't have nearly as same time as someone,
Right.
vice versa.
Yeah.
What's a good benchmark then for looking at anything? you know?
That's really tough. It's kind of like it's just that it's a crapshoot.
I've got an
You get a
idea.
really good driver, and maybe he makes a mistake.
I've got an idea. Like it sounds ridiculous. Someone should actually put in a racing sim, whatever the best racing sim you can get right now is, probably iRacing or whatever, and have it set up with a bot and run as fast as possible time, and then just go back to back with car.
I don't know if that's even realistic.
Take
Yeah,
out
I
the-
don't know.
you take
It's
the
not really
driver out of the
realistic.
equation. Then
Well, it's not realistic though. It's not the car. It's not
Yeah.
the track. It's not the weather. It's not.
Yeah.
Because I ran Nürburgring in the sim this last week.
yeah,
I ran a 5-minute 30-second.
And that's
And
not
what?
a realistic time.
It's super unrealistic.
Right.
would
It
you
was
run that in?
AMR Valkyrie.
AMR
it's a-
Valkyrie. What's that?
It's a Aston Martin Racing Valkyrie. It's a hypercar.
I didn't even know it's possible to get a subset 6-minute thing on the ring.
Yeah.
Wow.
Josh ran it in 522 in the same car.
Holy crap.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
I think sub 7 minutes.
For a real car.
a
There's
real
only
car
3
is-
cars ever done it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think sub 7 minutes is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think for race cars, even sub.
I don't know.
Sub
that's
6 minute?
stats out there somewhere if you
Yeah.
want to look it up.
Well, I mean,
I'd be
it's
interested
done
to
before.
see.
Like Nicky Lauda in 1975 was the first or it might have been 75. It was in the 70s. Was one of the first person to do a Nürburgring in under 7 minutes, and that was
in
an
what,
F1.
like F1 car?
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but for road cars,
God, that would be so rough. That track is so rough. In an F1 car, it would just beat the living
would.
shit out of you.
it would.
Yeah.
Anyways, mind is blinking. Little hamster wheel going tick, tick, tick.
We can see it.
I know.
I wish
It's
everybody
saying
else
dick,
could see
dick,
that.
dick, dick,
Dick, dick, dick, dick.
Weird.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Wait
Okay.
for the hamster.
I got another one on this topic.
Okay.
So I was watching memes after that sub 7 minute time came out for the Mustang.
Yep.
And it said, and this is going to make you sad a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably the last time you'll see muscle cars compete. American muscle cars compete.
No, so
I bet that's not true.
I don't think it's 100% true,
Yeah.
but
I know
Dodge
it's
is
not
starting
that-
to go to electric.
Yeah, it's not that super important to American Muscle. Never has been
Right.
in the past. I mean, they've done it in the last couple of years because they want to prove a point. But and I think it's super cool that they do it. But on the same token, like 2 years from now, they're like, nah, it's not that important.
Right.
Yeah,
But how many of those cars are going 100% electric?
yeah,
before too long?
unfortunate, an unfortunate amount. I still have hope that our next administration is going to ease up on that stuff.
I hope so, too.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe the car manufacturers will back off on that a little bit. We'll see.
I mean,
I know a lot of them are pretty deep down that road, and it's hard to just reverse gears. But I still don't think the all electric stuff is really where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
But hybrid, yeah, I get it, but I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to go down that road
nope.
right now.
That's a whole nother rabbit hole.
Always.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a little sad.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be.
Yeah.
it's
Nürburgring's not going away. You know,
No, it's
they're
not.
still going to test
Well-
like German cars, and there's space for it.
you say that now, and I very vividly remember there's been multiple times where they were going to close down the ring in like the last 20 years.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can't say it's not going to be here forever
Well, that's
because
true.
it's come to the point where people
It's
are
also quite a resurgence in the last few years.
Yeah.
Like it fell into pretty harsh disrepair in like the last decade, but then it's been used more and more recently. And I don't know what kind of agreement they have with the locals around the ring, especially the extended ring, which is 19 miles or something.
Yeah.
The one that they use for that testing is 12 point something, 12.6 maybe, somewhere right in there.
the one with the straight line.
Well, they both run the straight line portion of the track, but the extended, longer one isn't the one they use for their testing. Like the GTD ran on the Nordschleife or whatever it's called. It's
Yeah.
the 12-mile circuit.
Yeah. But the other one's just like where they did the Bugatti speed test, right?
No, that section is on both.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah. At least I believe it is. Like they both incorporate that one really long straightaway. You get up to 200 and whatever miles an hour.
200.
Depends on your car.
Yeah.
Right.
But they have to have some kind of agreement because it runs through little towns.
Yeah.
And by houses and all kinds of
Well,
stuff.
for
so.
being as big as the Nürburgring is, how long it's been around, I'm surprised, and probably could be proven wrong on this one, how much the government has jumped in to help it or subsidized it or
I think they've realized that it's actually kind of iconic
Yeah.
and important to automotive culture. Automotive culture is really big over there,
Yeah.
like Germany and in Europe in general. Even though they don't daily their cars as much as we do over here, it's a big deal. Racing over there is a big deal. So I can see why the governments would help, maintain that and keep it alive, so to speak. But
Yeah, and they do have the Autobahn too.
they do. They know how to drive fast.
Right. They know how
Really
to,
fast.
and they know how to get the hell out of your way.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's kind of neat. I like that.
So,
So,
can I bring up one more thing on the Nürburgring?
yes, please.
Did you guys also see that on the Nürburgring, how the Porsche Carrera GT just had a new lap time for being a 20-year-old car?
I did not.
So the Porsche Carrera GT, they had just taken a yellow Carrera GT, put it on the ring.
The color yellow was important.
It was.
It's his
They had
favorite.
just only changed on the car was a new set of Cup Pilot Sport 2s, and it was 17 seconds faster than its initial run time.
Driver.
Yeah, well, that too, but also newer tire technology after 20 years.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, that was the big thing people were saying is look just what tires do to the car. It'd be very interesting to see if
What about the suspension? What about the brake?
they didn't do any of that. All they did was tires.
Are we sure?
I'm positive.
Tires and a younger driver.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why it's such a big deal and everyone's touting about it because That was all they did. And the reason they also...
They've got to give some credit to the driver. I mean, seriously.
That's clipping.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But,
17 seconds is huge.
Actually, I'm wondering... Here's the thing. Hear me out. Every article is claiming that they're replacing the tires. I'm wondering if they replace the suspension too. And the reason is so before this event happened, there was a recall on all Porsche Carrera GTs. And this was a big in the news about it. And the recall was for suspension failing. And they were having a recall to replace all of them and had put a stop to drive on all Carrera GTs currently out and available.
Even back to 17 years ago?
Yeah.
Whatever that
Yeah,
one.
because there's a recall going for this one. This is the same car that killed Paul Walker. This is, the V10, naturally aspirated. Anyways. Because of that, what Porsche did as well is on top of replacing your suspension for the recall, they gave every owner of a Porsche Carrera GT brand new set of tires because they expected that these cars would be sitting for 9 months before they'd even get to it, and they were worried on flat spots and whatnot, So I'm wondering if the car that set the new lap record, quote unquote, that was just using stock or new tires on that one, if that also had the update suspension, and if it's just a OEM direct replacement where it's not much improvement, just fixing, the possibility of breakage, or if it's actually been upgraded because of new technology and those suspension. I don't know. So
Couldn't tell you. You should look it up and report back.
yeah.
All right, you guys ready? I'm going to call Chris.
It is a 5.7 liter V10, by the way.
Cool.
So what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that made
I didn't know it was
What?
a V10.
No, I didn't
know it was a
either.
V10.
I didn't.
It's a naturally aspirated V10 that was originally based and built in the 90s for an F1 car. And because it never got used, they had to detune it and they put it in that car.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
No, I didn't know that. That's awesome. All righty.
okay.
So, hey, we got a tone.
Yeah.
Listener number 1, you are the first caller to call.
Jesus. Hey, how are you, Chris? It's Rob.
All right. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. We're going to turn your volume up here a little bit.
Hi, Chris.
All right.
Oh, how's that?
I was going to ask if y'all could hear me all right.
That's really loud.
It was my phone.
Is that better?
You bet. All right, so, yeah, we've already jumped in. Thanks for joining the show, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, we just wanted to touch bases with you, kind of talk about your car projects and what you got going on, and kind of get a feel for what's happening over there. So, just so everybody knows, Chris is part of the High Octane Dads podcast.
Woo!
Or if you're Grant, you call it High Octane Daddies.
High Octane Daddies.
I quit.
So-
I'm going home.
So we actually brought that up. I told James, I was like, hey, we can always, call it How Octane Daddies. And he was like, our wives probably wouldn't like that very much.
Feels a little weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So, yeah, tell us about, you've got a couple of cars that I know that you take to the track on occasion.
Yeah, I've got a lot going on right now.
Yeah, yeah.
So actually, I still have my first car. It's an 86 Trans Am. It's got a 5.3 T56 swap. It's actually been swapped since like 2009.
Okay.
Nice.
But I mean, it's like 4th gen F body fuel tank, like 4th gen drive shaft wheels, interior. I've had the car 20 years. I love it.
That's
It's
a good project, man. You can keep it that long. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pile. And now it's really at a point, like, everything with the swap is still really good, but the rest of the car around it's falling apart. It's never been restored or anything.
Yeah. Well, that'll just
then-
keep you into the project forever, right? I mean, you've always got something to work on.
Yeah, other than me, when I was a teenager, I decided I'm going to tear all this apart and do this. And then it was in many pieces for years. And then I threw it back together when I swapped it. And so it's all together. It just doesn't look the best.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, well.
But
Yeah, and now that's
what
the
it
car
is.
you drag race, right?
I have drag raced it, yes.
Yeah, but is that not your primary function for that car?
No, I mean, that's just, honestly, I mainly go out and do burnouts with it.
Oh, perfect. That's awesome.
Would you say that?
I mean,
would you say that
Go
car
ahead.
is like your Liger?
He doesn't know
His
what
mouth.
Liger is.
He's maybe listened to the show enough to know Liger.
I'm gonna guess
I'm-
not.
I've listened to the show, but not enough to know what that is.
Liger's my '07 Mustang that I've had since I was in high school, and essentially just there's no Grant, there's Grant and Liger. It's it's always by my side.
Right.
Yay.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Like actually right above the bed, my bed where I sleep, I have a black and white photo of the rear of my car parked up front of my high school.
Nice.
I took in high school with a 35 millimeter, and I developed it in a dark room in the high school.
Nice.
That's so cool.
And it's blown up as an 8x10, and it's on the wall right above my bed.
That's funny.
But my kids love it. My boys really haven't experienced the car a lot. It's actually a really basic setup. I paid like $375 for the 5.3 off eBay,
Wow.
Wow.
and I put it together with like used and stock parts. It's got just a GM hot cam kit in it, stock push rods, LS6 springs, and I spin it to 7,200.
Oh wow.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Very trusting.
I do. I mean, if it breaks, it breaks.
Yeah.
It doesn't owe me anything at this point.
No, it's
I do.
done its duty, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, it gets no lift shifts, 6 grand clutch dumps. I mean, I really. But and then I've had quite a few of those cars over the years. I had a 92 Z28 that I had for 11 years, and it was just a 305 700 R4 car. It had bolt-ons, but it ran like bottom 14s in the quarter.
Oh wow.
And
nice.
That's not bad.
for like with manifolds and everything on it and a cat on it. I mean, it ran well for almost 300,000 mile 305 car.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Wow.
But I actually sold it 2 years ago, and I bought a 2013 Chevy Caprice PPV.
Okay.
And I don't know if y'all are very familiar with those, but it's basically a long wheelbase Pontiac G8 or SS sedan.
Okay.
Was it a police car originally?
Yes, so they're an imported car,
Yep.
and that's the only way that we got them in the United States as police use.
Oh, interesting.
Gotcha.
They were never sold to the public. I think there was like roughly 15,000 of them that came over between 2011 and 2017.
Wow.
Huh.
How many of those do you figure are left?
Not a lot, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
That's the biggest issue with those cars, like all the Holden cars, is they're very expensive to fix body-wise because it's hard to get parts. They're very plentiful in Australia, but not over here.
Yeah.
So you see a lot of them get totaled out. Mine actually has a rebuilt title, and just because there's a cut in the back bumper, that's it.
Wow.
Really? And it just
Yeah.
the insurance company thought it was too hard to find a bumper to replace that, and that ended up totaling it.
It was right at the end of its service life, and I have a feeling that was part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost looks like it was pushed with another car with the like the bull bar, and like it put a cut in the bumper,
Yeah.
and because there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I've had the car for a little over 2 years. I've put a little over 20,000 miles on it.
Yeah. It's not bad.
And yeah, I mean, last summer I pulled the engine out because so they have a all aluminum 6-liter with LS3 heads and LS3 intake. So I pulled the engine out last year. I did the DOD delete and did a BTR stage. Well, it's a stage 2 LS3 cam or the BTR Red Hot. ZL1 torque converter, long tube headers, and it made 432, 407 on 93.
That's good.
When you did all those
Yeah.
upgrades to it, did you do it all at once, or did you just do it in stages where it's just like, okay, we have this done, now we're going to do this part and this part?
So I did the headers first,
Mm-hmm.
but I did them first because I had to put a starter on the car. When I put the starter on, and I started it up, and it had a bad misfire, and it said something with the crank sensor. Well, I pulled the starter back out, and all the wiring that went to that side of the engine was just destroyed.
Oh,
Melted?
So all the coating was gone, all the wires were all corroded,
Oh wow.
and I guess me disturbing it, pulling the starter out, just started all this. And I'm like, I'm laying there underneath the car looking, and I'm like, you know what? There's no way I can fix all this shit with this manifold and cat in the way.
Yeah.
So that shit came off, and I ordered headers right away. And I did the headers. Actually, so it picked up. I added headers to it and did a really mild tune myself, and it picked up 7/10 in the 8.
Like you wrote your own tune yourself?
Yes.
Oh, very cool.
Yes. Yeah, I've got HP tuners.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a master, but I'm enough to get by.
You can be dangerous.
How long did
Oh yeah.
how long did it take you to get the tune down for that?
Not very long, because honestly, I just played with the trans a little bit of airflow changes here and there, and maybe a couple days, just me driving it.
Okay. So it's just
But-
street dyno rather than throwing on a dyno and actually do it that way?
Well, when I had the headers on, that's all I had.
Okay.
And I ran it. So I put the headers. I went to LS Fest East for my first time in September of 2022. The car had an air intake only on it, and that next week was when I ordered headers for it. Because I actually came home and we dynoed it with just an air intake, and it made 300, 330 to the tire.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, it was 300 wheel, 330 torque with just a VCM over the radiator intake, and had Steelies on it still.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I did the headers like the next week, and I never dynoed it again. And then that following, that next fall, I went ahead and did I take it back. That next summer, I did the cam swap. So 4th of July weekend last year, I pulled the engine out of it, and I had everything back in and driving by August the 5th of that same year.
Oh, okay.
So
That's pretty good.
It was all part of a month, and actually, I pulled everything out of it and dropped off the heads at the machine shop, and I left for a work trip in St. Louis for like 4 days. And I came back and like worked on cleaning up the short block, cleaning up the engine bay, doing some wiring fixes in the engine bay. And I basically waited on the heads and then slapped it all back together. The only thing that I did not do that now I have to do is I did not do the trunnion upgrade.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah. And 12,000 miles later, one of them come apart.
Oh yeah.
So,
Well,
I mean,
and you took it to LS Fest this last year again, didn't you?
yeah, it's been 3 years in a row.
Okay.
Yes. So I took it last year with the cam done to it, and it still had the stock 292 rear diff. And I had I tuned it to get it running, but I had it running. I did some shakedown driving around town, and then I ended up paying because I was gonna use a local tuner for a dyno tune, but he was booked out, and I'm like, all right. So I ended up getting with Charles Barber, and I think he's out of South Carolina, and he's a big tuner for these cars. And so we remote tuned it, and he bitched the whole time about my torque converter choice because it's a really tight converter.
Yeah.
And the long-term plan is to put an LSA on the car, make like 600 or something, and just daily it.
Real fast. Being a Ford guy, what's an LSA? What's the difference between that and...
A supercharger,
Oh,
like
okay.
a root style supercharger.
Oh, okay.
Like they came on the CTSVs, ZL1 Camaros.
Oh, okay.
But that's the end goal. But he remote tuned it, and it ran and drove good. I drove it to LS Fest last year, and like my first pass out, it barely. I think it ran the same time it did the year before when it was stock with an air intake.
Oh, really?
And I'm like,
Oh, that's
so like I
frustrating.
took off. Well, you could feel it. Like it felt like the traction control was kicking in, but it was pulling timing. And I logged it, and it was pulling like 18 degrees going down the track.
Oh, wow.
And so then here we are, remote, like emailing back and forth and trying to iron it out. And I think we ended up it ended up being an exhaust rattle that was causing some issues.
Huh.
And I ended up, once I got home, I scheduled an appointment with my local guy to dyno tune it. And I'm like, the other guy, Charles, did great. The car ran and drove great. Other than we were having issues with, like, I'm assuming it was probably just the knock sensors. And
Yeah.
he's done a pile of them. And the whole remote thing, I could see it being kind of an issue. Like, if you make a little bit of adjustment and then, you don't really have a real world, like, trying to diagnose the car over the phone is not good.
No, that's super hard.
So I ended up having, I was got ready to have the tune done locally. And I went and had a local guy want to do some pictures of the car, and I was driving home and the rear diff broke.
Oh, man.
Like, I was cruising down the road 55, just riding along, and then it was like, damn, like somebody hit me.
Oh,
What
like
the
full on
hell is-
grenade explosion in the back, it felt like.
Yeah, yeah. Like, the whole car shook, and the car shut off.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, fuck, what's going on? And I coasted into my neighborhood, and I was literally, I don't know, 100 feet from my driveway. And I put it in park, and it started rolling backwards down the hill. I'm like, okay, I either broke the trans or the diff. And once it coasted to a stop, I got it off the road. It was just pouring gear oil out the back.
Oh, damn.
And it ended up, from what it looks like once I got it apart, the center pin either broke or the bolt broke, and the pin walked its way out and grabbed the case as I was driving.
Oh.
And just, it broke the case, both sides, because
Yeah.
the case that was on that diff is a split case, which was kind of a shitty design. But the carrier bearings ride right there on the split where the case comes apart.
Oh, shoot.
And so when it broke both sides of the case, took a big chunk out of the ring gear. So
Destroyed everything.
the direct swap is a stock diff from a 5th gen Camaro.
Yeah.
So it's got a 327 geared stock diff from a 5th gen Camaro on it. So I had, when I took it and had it dyno tuned, he fixed all that mess. But the
Nice.
car runs and drives great. And like the other week, I went and actually swapped the stock mufflers on the car just to tone it down a little bit. And I put the Steelies back on it. And I had went to go to the store, and I got off the interstate and did like a first through third gear rolling burnout.
Nice.
Getting off the interstate. And I went and pulled in and parked, went in the store, came back out. And as soon as I fired it up, it started pecking.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, oh, shit. And at first I was like, either a lifter failed or the trunnions. And I looked through the parking lot, and it got better. I was like, maybe it's just me. And I went to another store, came back out, started again, and it wasn't any better. So I looked to like a big open part of the parking lot and just went ahead and had it towed. And the next day I come home from work and I pop the valve covers, and I believe it's the intake valve on the number 2 cylinder, the rocker, the whole side of it split apart, all the bearings come out. And apparently it must have been starting a while ago because it hammered the top of the valve.
Oh, really?
So
Oh, shoot.
I've got to pull that head off of it.
Yeah.
It happened 2 days before Thanksgiving, and then Thanksgiving hit, had everybody around, couldn't really do much on it.
Yeah.
And then the following Monday, I left and went to Chicago for 2 weeks for work.
So you've been out for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the car's just sitting there in the driveway on ramps right now.
No. Darn it.
And then I also have a 2000 3/4 ton Suburban with a 6 liter and a 4L80. And so that's what I'm bailing right now. But it's got long tube headers on it, 4-inch exhaust.
That sounds like a fun daily driver right
Yeah,
there.
it does.
It's a slug. I love that thing.
Yeah.
It's so heavy.
Yeah.
And it's just the 80E's got such a long first gear. And it's got H2 Hummer wheels on it with 285 tires on it.
Oh, my gosh.
And
So,
like,
if they got the H2 wheels,
first-
they're the big spinners, right?
No. But no, it'll do like 65 in first gear.
Oh, yeah.
And it's such a dog because of that.
Well, it probably gets like 7 miles a gallon, too.
About 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad.
But I could put 87 in it, and it doesn't care.
Yeah.
So, but no, I mean, and then we got this Volvo out here. That's been a headache.
How so?
It just leaks from everywhere.
Eventually, that's what a
But-
Volvo does. It just leaks.
And,
That's why.
I tell you, I mean, I like the car. It's a maintenance nightmare.
Yeah.
That's why you take out the little 4-cylinder in it and you throw in an LS motor and call it good.
Yeah. Well, this is that inline 5 turbo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I bought this car for my daughter, but I told her, I was like, look, don't destroy it because I kind of like it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Like, it's one of the off-road package wagons.
Oh, really?
And so, like, once I started driving it, I'm like, man, I want to lift this thing and put all terrains on it.
You just can't leave it alone.
You started feeling like a Subaru driver. You're like, oh, let's just imagine what we could do with
No.
this off road.
Right.
Actually, I really probably wouldn't do a lot with it because I kind of like it just kind of quiet. I can just yeet it in and out of parking lots, not have to worry about anything.
Yeah. So on your Caprice, did you ever figure out the knock sensor? Did you get those shut off, or how did you get around that?
Yeah, we ended up just shutting
Shutting them off, yeah.
But I also found when I built my exhaust, one side, so it's got slip fit connectors on the headers, and after a while of driving it, the whole exhaust system will slowly slip off the headers,
Oh, really?
and so the exhaust, one of the mufflers in the back was vibrating against a hanger. And it would only do it at like certain resonances in the RPM range, and it must have been at wide open throttle where it wasn't happy.
Yeah.
So now what I do anytime I go, I need to cut and put V-bands on. I just haven't done it yet because I have V-bands on my Suburban and my Trans Am, but I don't have them on that car yet.
Yeah. I had
But,
a similar issue with one of my Corvettes where slip fit exhaust kept coming apart middle of the race day. All of a sudden I could tell things are not right. I ended up, I just drilled it and tapped it and pinned it. I just put I put a quarter 20 in there and pinned the thing.
I think you guys just reminded me of something I did to Liger that now I'm thinking about. I'm like, I probably should not have done that.
What'd you do? Did you weld it?
I tack welded it because I was tired of it slipping off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a fix. That's a fix too. You're just going to have to grind it off if you want to take it out.
I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Dang slip fit.
That's not too bad.
Yeah.
No, I need to cut them off. I've got an extra set of V-bands in the garage. It's just, I need to do it. It's one of them things.
It's a hassle. Yeah.
Yeah, it is, but it isn't. But it's just, so what I do, anytime I change the oil in it now, what I'll do is I'll put a ratchet strap around the X pipe
And pull it in.
and I'll hook it to the K member up front, and then I'll just loosen the clamps and just ratchet the whole exhaust back forward.
There you go.
And it usually only moves maybe like a half an inch, but it's enough to where it'll make it buzz against the hangers in the back.
Oh, yeah.
So
I mean, that's a fair amount of movement. So
is.
it's a hassle.
It is.
Yeah.
Which I did hammer it on there with the impact last time, so we'll see how it holds.
Right. Yeah.
But no, I love it. I mean, I bought that because I was at a point where I hated driving the Suburban all the time, and I wanted like a kind of a fun sedan, so that way I could still throw the kids in and run around, and it wasn't like super low to where I could go in and out of parking lots easy and drive it all the time.
Yeah.
And I was looking at all sorts of different options, and I started looking at there's a guy at work I used to work with that had one, and I wanted it so bad, and he wouldn't sell it to me. And so I ended up just going out and bought mine. And I mean, I only paid $5,500 for it.
Shoot, that's good.
And it had 85,000 miles on it. And I might have 11 in the car now.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a sleeper too, especially the way you've got it built. Yeah. Total sleeper car.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like, so actually the day that it broke on me, I had left work and went to a gas station right next door, and I pumped gas, whatever, and I sat in the car, and I'm in there resetting all my shit. And a deputy sheriff pulled up at the pump next to me, and then one pulled up like at a parking spot the other side of the building, kind of behind me. And I'm in there doing my thing, and right when he went to walk behind the car, I started it, and the dude stopped, and he ran around the passenger side window, started knocking on the window, wanted to roll the window down, and I was like, "Oh shit, here we go."
Yeah.
And I rolled it down. He was like, "What the hell is in this thing?" Because that sounds badass.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And he was talking to me about it for a second, and then I finished doing what I was doing, and then the other cop came out. And then they waved at me again. They're like, "Hey, can you like show us under the hood?" I'm like, "All right."
That's
And
cool.
they were asking questions about it, and then the one cop like pulls his badge off and was like, "How fast will it go?" It's the speed limit, man.
Yeah, yeah. It goes the speed limit just fine.
It'll get there real
Yeah.
quick, though.
Yeah.
But it's a heavy car,
Yeah.
so with me in it and a full tank of gas, it was 4,540 pounds.
That's
That
yeah,
is
it's a little
heavy.
weighted.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's heavier
Yeah,
than Liger.
it's heavier than Liger.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a-
that's true.
Yeah, my Trans Am with me in it was like 3,450.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, those Trans Ams aren't too
But-
bad, and the Camaros of the same generation. Those actually aren't too heavy. They're pretty good.
Yes. So I actually help. I've had that car 20 years, and I've had multiple F bodies over the years. So I actually helped run a third gen F body group on Facebook, and we've started it in 2013,
Oh yeah.
and it's called Mullet Militia.
Oh, I've heard of
So
that.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and so that's how James and I met.
Oh, really?
And yeah, so we've met kind of through that and through the guy that actually initially started it and then reached out to me to help admin it. But yeah, I've been to a few events for that. We went to one in 2014, and on the way home, my Yukon that I had at the time got totaled, and I
Oh,
was pulling my Trans Am,
oh, jeez.
so that sucked.
Yeah.
But and like, dude,
Trans Am
actually,
survived.
yeah, oh yeah.
I mean-
I
Oof.
was very irate when I went to jump out of the thing to figure out what happened, and I was sure the car come off the trailer, and it never budged.
Oh, that's good.
Wow.
So, yeah.
What kind of straps are you using? I got to buy some of those.
Harbor Freight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was a U-Haul trailer, so it was whatever they got on them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was not very pleased. And what it was, we were going down the interstate, and it was a 4 lanes, and we were the third lane over from the right, and there was a wall on the other side of the lane to the left of me, and I'm riding along, and this guy come flying up in the lane to my right, and he went to go around me, but the car that was in front of him also had to slow down, so he turned quicker and ran right in front of me, and I pushed him back into the car he was trying to avoid,
Yeah.
and it didn't look like I had a lot of damage on it, but when we started, my insurance totaled it, but I bought it back and was going to fix it. And as I started buying parts, things weren't lining up, and where the frame went and bent down to go underneath the cab, it had like buckled downwards.
Oh, shoot.
And so that thing, it was an '03 Yukon XL, so basically a Suburban. It was a half ton, had a 5.3 4L60. I went through 3 4L60s in that thing
Oh, man.
Okay.
because they suck.
Yeah, because they're not great.
Let me give you the
No,
easy
well-
answer.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the stock one lasted the longest. I broke 2 rear diffs in it, and when the second one broke, it took out the stock trans. And it shocked the driveline so hard it broke the forward sprag. So like I could take off if I manually put it in first gear and then shifted to second, and then it would do third, but then you put it in overdrive and it would just rev. And if you put it in overdrive, tried to take off or drive, it would just rev. But it got me home off the front diff that night, and I bought a built trans and put in it. So I bought it was a Performa built level 2 4L60 and a Circle D 3000 stall converter. And it had long tube headers on it and all that shit too. It had electric fans swapped on it. And that thing was so rowdy with that trans. It didn't matter if you were like idling. It would go into second gear and bark the tires every time.
Ooh, that's awesome.
It was kind of obnoxious.
Yeah.
But I had it like 8 months, and I was going down the interstate and lost third and fourth gear.
Oh, damn.
So the company was like, send it back. You've got a warranty or whatever. And so I pulled the trans and sent it back, sent the torque converter back to Circle D. They did a cut and clean. And then it took them like 3 months to build me another trans. and that was obnoxious, but
Yeah.
is what it is. But I got it back together and ran it like 6 months, and then it got totaled. So I ended up once I did all that stuff, tried to fix it. I ended up parting it out, made more money from parting it than the insurance gave me,
Well, that's good.
and yeah, and I ended up buying a '08 GMC Sierra, and which later I ended up having to put a 4L60 in it.
Good Lord.
And
You've had some
Yeah.
luck with transmissions. Jesus.
yeah,
This is why you
and
buy
then
a Ford.
I did a can. Do I?
I said, this is why you buy a Ford.
Yeah. And then I did a cam swap in that as well because it had a lifter failure. So, and then after I did all that work, I sold it because I didn't like the truck.
Oh, what didn't you like about it?
I didn't like so mine was an '08. So it was an '08 Sierra.
Okay.
So it had all the issues from the previous 4L60.
Okay.
And it had all the new issues with the newer ones that had like the AFM replacement on demand. I felt the interior was way cheaper back on it,
Yeah.
and it like didn't even have 100,000 miles on it. The interior, just like the fabrics and like everything, just felt cheaper to me. And I don't know, I wasn't a fan of it. It was red. I don't like red. It's got to be
Red's
like
a slower color. Red is a slower color, you know.
Don't say that.
I can't say too much about red because so my uncle has a 2002 Trans Am that he bought new. And at this point in his life, he doesn't drive it anymore. And he's like, look, you need to make room. I need this car to come to you. I don't have room for it. But I know that eventually I'll have a red Trans Am here, so I can't bash it so much.
Now that's a fourth gen?
Yes.
2002, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's the last year they made them.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was going to say it had to be pretty close to that.
Is the last year, is that considered a WS6? Is what they're called?
So the WS6 was the package that they had on them.
Oh, okay.
It was like a performance package. That's what got the rim air hood. And it got 17-inch wheels. So like my Trans Am, I put the 01, 02 WS6 wheels on it.
Okay.
The ones James just put on his car are the like 2000, like 96 to 2000 WS6 wheels.
Are those hard to come by?
Not really.
Yeah.
The ones that I've got are a little harder to come by. And I found them probably 10 years ago now. And I paid like $400 for them.
Yeah, before people realize that those are going to be hard to get.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because my uncle so his car is a base model Trans Am. So it's not a WS6. It's got a flat hood.
Yeah.
And it's got 16-inch wheels. And he said something to me, like he's only got like 80,000 miles on the car. It sits in the garage now.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, man, this thing, I need to find a set of different wheels for it. Like, he goes, but I want like the stock WS6 wheels. I said, yeah, like the ones on my car. And he's like, yeah. He's like, well, tires are getting you can't really get a good tire for a 16-inch wheel anymore.
Oh.
At least for
I was going to ask about
cars.
that. Yeah, I was going to ask about
You
that.
get them for trucks, but you can't get them for cars.
Really?
Right.
Okay. So
he
is
was
17s, are 17s more readily available in a decent tire?
Yeah.
I'm going to run into that.
Kind of getting
Really? Where are you going to run into that problem with, Rob?
Well, I think they're 15s for the Corvette.
Oh, the C3?
C3.
Yeah. That'd be tough. I mean, like,
They still might make decent amount of, because 15 was really popular.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
And it still is like in the drag racing world.
Okay. Anyway, continue. Sorry. Sidetracked.
But no, I told him, I was like, well, look, I said, the whole idea is, I said, I plan to put something else on my car and I plan to keep these for yours anyway. So I said, just don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, that car's bone stock. Like I said, he's had it since it was new.
That's
He's
cool.
got some mileage on it because when he first bought it, he was like, he had a 92 Firebird all through the 90s. So that's kind of what got me into wanting the one that I have. And the one he had. And he hardly ever drove it though.
Yeah.
And he sold it in like 2002 or like 2001, 2002. And he went through like 3 brand new vehicles in a year. At least according to him, they were lemons. But
Sure.
the last one he bought was his Trans Am. And he's like, I want this, this, and this. He goes, and I want to drive it. And it was his daily driver for like 2 or 3 years. And then he finally went and bought like a work car or whatever. And then now the thing sits, like he's got that. He bought a 2019 EcoBoost F-150 in, I think, January of 2020. And he started working from home right at that time period.
Yeah. So it's got no miles on it.
It's got 13,000 miles on it right now.
Wow. Yeah.
And when he was looking at buying the thing, we were talking about it. He was like, "Oh, what do you think?" I was like, "Honestly," I said, "I keep cars for a long time."
Yeah.
I said, I would buy the Coyote truck."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, well, the Coyotes are having 19s and 20s or whatever," and I'm like, I don't care. I was like, the EcoBoost, they run well. I said, but there's a lot more moving parts.
Yeah.
There's a lot more shit.
And no matter what, you're
This is
eventually going to
rough.
have a turbo failure at some point.
Yeah, turbo or the cam phasers.
Yeah, but that's also the Coyotes had. I think that's
true.
But the 5.0 just. I know there's some years that weren't the best in it, but the Coyotes though were really more. I want to say more knowledge on them, more resources to find about them and fix them. And
Exactly.
Yeah. There's actually a video I saw on YouTube. Side note that. They went and asked a bunch of Ford mechanics what would they have for an F-150, and it was between all motors. And I think it was out of 15 or 12 mechanics, all but 2 of them said 5.0. Everyone else said 5.0. The other 2 said EcoBoost.
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
And it's because when you're working on it, what they're the ones who work on it every day. They're like,
Right.
what's going to last?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Better motor.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
But I will say those EcoBoosts, they move like a bat out of hell.
Yes, they do.
It is insane.
Yeah, they run really well stock and lightly modded.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you start modding a little farther, then they start having issues. But I don't know.
We have a 2.7 EcoBoost at work, and I'm not even joking. For the longest time, I thought that was a 3.5 because I was like, "This is faster than my Mustang." I was like, in a straight line, I was like, "This is insane."
That's
and
the 2.7 V6.
and it's a 2.7 EcoBoost V6.
Yeah.
That small of a motor still puts out like 300 something horses.
Yeah, it's like 310.
And it's insane.
Yeah.
I've done some research and talked to some people and watched, I guess, some YouTube videos or whatever, where a lot of times they say that the 2.7 is a little better than the 3.5s.
Really?
I mean, I don't know from personal experience or anything. This is just internet knowledge, I guess.
What were they saying?
We know about that internet knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really know necessarily what's better or worse about them, but I do know that a guy that I met this year at LS Fest through mutual friends, and now we're a friend, but he is a Ford guy, and he has a 2.7 EcoBoost truck, and he's worked on a pile of different ones, and he goes, "Yeah, I'd like to have a Coyote." He's like, "I wish mine was." He said, "But I got the better EcoBoost," and he's even said the same thing, and he had a shop there for a while, and he's like, every 3.5 I ever dealt with just is garbage. And I'm like, whatever. I don't know anything about them.
So he's saying the 2.7's a better one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember several years ago, it might have been like Frontline Truck or one of them YouTube channels that does like new truck stuff. And they took 3 F-150s. One was a Coyote, one was a 2.7, one was a 3.5. And I want to say that the 2.7 was right there with the 3.5 in most scenarios, but it was a lighter truck than the rest of them as well. I was like, well, that's kind of weird, but
yeah, that's cool. So back to the Trans Am, especially your uncle's. So a single owner, that's pretty cool. I mean, to be able to have that car forever. One owner car.
Oh yeah.
You ever try to look for the WS6 hood, like just on its own?
Yes.
You ever find that?
They are stupid expensive these days.
Really?
It's gold. Yeah, you can't find them.
Are we talking like even replica ones are stupid expensive or like original?
They even make a replica?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different aftermarket ones.
Oh, okay.
I honestly haven't really looked into them a whole lot over the last several years. At one time, I wanted one of those cars for myself to mod, and after getting into other stuff over the years, I'm like, I'm good with F bodies. I got all the F body that I need,
Yeah.
and I'm not necessarily, I wouldn't say over them because I always have them, but I'm ready to get into different platforms, and that's kind of where I got into the Caprice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Is that the next platform that you think you're really going to start taking off to, or do you have other ones you're dabbling in?
I don't know. I like to. I'm not ever satisfied. So
Well,
I'm not the type of person that rotates through cars a lot, but I'm always looking for something else.
There
too.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're a project car guy.
Yeah.
You're not satisfied till you've got 6 in the garage and you're like, I don't know what even to work on now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so I was actually outside tonight working on a mini bike. So
Yeah. It's always something different, right?
Yeah.
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 At least it's not arcade
Yeah,
machines.
Yeah. No.
I'm going to punch
I think that's the thing. Like, especially for men, you get to a certain age and it's like you start accumulating hobbies.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
like,
Well,
so
now we can afford
I
the
played-
hobbies we wanted when we were kids.
Yeah. Well, I've got 4 kids, so everything's expensive.
Well, yeah, it is. Good Lord.
Don't do that. No, that could be a lot of fun, but it's a lot sometimes too. And
Yeah.
mine are spread out.
Yeah. I went through my kid raising phase. I'm already done with that. So I know how expensive
Okay.
that is.
Yeah, I haven't been there
Oh,
yet.
Yeah.
Still working on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I've got
It's a lot.
my youngest is 2, my oldest is 16. So
Oh, man. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're in the
Don't
midst
do
of
that.
it, man. You are in the midst of
Yeah.
it. It's good, though.
Oh,
I mean, what a great range of
It is.
ages, too. Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super
And
cool.
which, I mean, so I had my oldest, I'm 37, and I had my oldest when I was 20.
Yeah.
So I'm not, I guess, super old for when my boys get older. But
Right. No,
like,
you're in a
you know,
good spot, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when my oldest turns, 20, I'll be 40. So
Yeah. No, that's pretty good. So,
yeah.
other than LS Fest, like, what other kind of competition have you done? You got a racing background, or you just dabble in it a little bit here and there?
Just a little bit. So I've done some of the SCCA autocross events
Sure.
in
Yeah.
my area.
Yeah.
Then we had a local Porsche club that would do autocross events. And I've done actually probably more autocrossing over the years than I've drag raced.
Yeah.
But nothing I've ever done that I get super serious in. I just like to go out. I just like cars.
Yeah.
And I just like to go out and beat on them and hang out and talk about them.
That's awesome.
So, but I'm not like, I like to be competitive, but more so like with myself and like with good friends, but not like legit competitive, if that makes sense.
That's
Well, it
exactly
does.
autocross.
Yeah. Well, we are big into
Yeah.
autocross. Love going to autocross.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We do a lot of that.
So I autocrossed my Caprice this year for the first time at LS Fest.
Oh, that's so cool.
And it did not do terrible.
Yeah.
It definitely needs a bigger front sway bar.
Mm-hmm.
It needs better brakes and better tires.
All the
So-
things you learn autocrossing the car.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it was a heavy car going in,
Yeah.
and I ran my Camaro 20s on it, and it just had like some Lexani whatever on them. But it actually didn't push too bad in the front, but it had a lot of roll, but it's heavy.
Yeah.
Which is probably why it didn't push as bad. I don't know. But
Didn't push as bad because that's the thing is you would if it didn't push, you would upgrade to a bigger sway bar so that way it
Yeah.
wouldn't push.
yeah.
Well, body roll. Try to get rid of some of
So
the
then why not put a sway bar on the back then?
Probably need both to balance it.
Yeah,
yeah,
because that would
probably would.
that'd help out. I think I'd try that first.
Well, I think he's right though. You got to have the front to hold.
Yeah.
You've got all that front end body roll coming into corners. It's gonna want to do that. It'll dive a little bit.
Or you do what I do and you use that to your advantage.
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll say that.
Well, I will say I'm not afraid to sling that thing around.
Yeah.
Sure. That helps.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I want to do the Brembos on it off of 15 Camaro because they're a bolt-on mod.
That's cool
It need-
that you can find
Yeah.
like just the used stuff off of other cars,
Oh,
and
yeah.
be able to just bolt it on. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think it's you have to use a different banjo bolt and a different a soft line, and that's it.
Cool.
Oh, nice.
That's an easy upgrade.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to
Yeah.
know, when you autocross, do you play the radio or no radio?
No radio.
And is that because you want to hear that motor sing?
I guess. I don't know. I got to concentrate.
There you go.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, that
we
was the
actually-
right answer. That was absolutely the right answer.
Sure, okay.
Okay, we're muting Grant
we-
now.
Oh,
We had that conversation with a good friend of mine that I met autocrossing years ago. He's got a Miata,
Mhm.
and he's been autocrossing that thing for like 20 years.
Mhm.
And he walked up to me to talk to me because I had a 98 Camaro that I was there autocrossing.
Mhm.
And I just like showed up one day. And so he walked up and started talking to me. And he said that when he started, he had a 92 Camaro. And I was like, oh. And he's like, yeah, I have a place in my heart for these cars. And then we got to talking, and come to find out, he went to school with me. He was a few years ahead of me.
Oh, wow.
And now we're actually real good friends. And he's a history teacher at my kid's high school.
Oh,
that's
that's cool.
awesome.
And so my daughter's boyfriend actually has him for a class, and I found this out like a week ago. And he was like, I sent the kid this picture, and it was just me, him, and another friend of ours standing in this field. And you can't tell what we're doing. We're just kind of laughing. But anyways, I sent it to him. He was like, is that my teacher? I said, yeah. I said, we were burning a car that night.
Oh, no.
Burning a car.
Burning a car. The things you
Yeah,
do.
it was an old Champ car chassis, and it was retired. And so we stripped it and just stuck the shell in a bonfire
That's funny.
in a random field. But I told him, I said, yeah, when you go back to school, I said, tell them that Miatas are girl cars.
Oh, he drives a Miata now. That's
But
rough.
this guy's had a Miata for about 20 years, and that's what he autocrosses. And I've done some welding jobs on it for him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a basic car. It's got decent brakes, good tires, wheels, coilovers.
Look real good in pink.
I hate to say it, but Miatas make great autocross cars.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he dailies the thing. Well, he
Yeah.
dailied it for a very long time.
Yeah.
But he dailies it whenever it's nice out. He rebuilt the 1.8 several years ago,
Mhm.
and it's got a header on it, full exhaust. And I've actually raced the car a few times at events, and it's a completely different ball game driving one of those Miatas.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely. Yeah.
you can just floor it all the way through a turn. It's great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Momentum car, too. You don't have all that horsepower to back you up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I will say, going
Different
from a
style
heavy
of driving.
car and then going into a Miata, though, if you can learn to drive a heavy car fast and momentum drive it and then get into a Miata,
Oh, yeah.
that's a fun ride.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Honestly.
absolutely.
Yeah. There's a lot to be said going either direction, learning to drive a momentum car and then getting into a horsepower car, or the other way around. It's definitely a learning experience both directions.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And like me having these F bodies, there were some friends of mine that never really knew that those cars would handle well. I'm like, oh yeah, so, they're set up and they do really well in a lot of things. You have to use the right springs, right shocks. But I mean, the geometry and the way the cars are laid out, they work really well. They handle decent.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all about setup at the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, a good tire is everything. A lot of
Absolutely.
them, really.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. The good tire, along with the good suspension, along with the good brakes.
And a good driver.
Well, that's Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's the package deal. So with the big family, I mean, 4 kids is a lot to take care of, and keeping the wife happy and the kids happy. How much time do you actually get to work on your cars?
Not a lot.
Yeah. It's tough to get
Usually
that
when
time.
Usually when I get have something like big that I want to do, I'm at a point in my life now where I'll try to get most of the parts and then try to knock it all out at once, like when I did the engine and the Caprice.
Yeah.
But I have a really bad habit of procrastinating, where I'll just be like, I'm good. I don't want to do it today.
Yeah.
And so my Trans Am, when when I first swapped it, it had manifolds on it, and then I bought a set of long tube headers. It was like a China knockoff of the Stainless Works headers, but the passenger side collector hung really low. And over the years, I ended up flattening the collector, put a hole in it, had like welded a couple times. And so then Speed Engineering came out with a swap header for those cars that tucked really high. And I'm like, great, I'll order a set of those because I have a good friend who's a vendor. And I ordered them, went to put them in the car, and they fit different. And I couldn't get them in there without jacking the motor up. And I'm like, I don't feel like fooling with this today. And then it sat for 2 years on jack stands.
Oh my gosh.
So, and then I was going to do the work on my Caprice, and I went out there and probably about 6 hours of work, and I put the headers on, built a new Y pipe for the exhaust, and I had it on the ground. I'm like, really?
Oh my
I
gosh.
let this thing sit 2 years just because I'm stupid.
Wow. That's serious procrastination. Good job.
Yeah.
It'll happen. You know what? Life happens. See, we talk, and the reason I kind of brought it up is because we talk about this a lot on the show, because that's a project car guy's dilemma is
balancing time.
It's that balance. You balance work, home, family, your relationships, school, whatever it is you've got. There's that balance. And unfortunately, the project car usually takes a back seat. So it's like, how do you find that time? And a lot of us, with the families and stuff, you've got to make it a point and schedule it, and let your family know, hey, this is the day I've got some stuff I want to do for me. Give me some time. And then, the rest of the week is your guys.
Yeah.
But I need this day. So it's really important for our own mental sanity and feeling like we got something done that we wanted to do.
Well, it's also frustrating time because there's times you do set a schedule for getting that time. You're on a project and something happens where you're 2 steps back now.
Yeah.
And trying to keep going through a project after going through that, and say if it's multiple times 2 steps back. Sure. It takes a willpower to keep going, and it's just not easy all the time.
Yeah, setbacks, they deflate you a little bit.
Yeah.
Or, when you're like, this doesn't fit right. I got to jack the motor up. I don't feel like doing it. And then it sits because you just have that bad taste in your mouth sometimes. Just like, I don't want to go do it right now.
Yeah.
Shoot, I'll get home sometimes. I'll think about working on my car all day long, and I'll get home and I'll go in, I'll feed the dogs, get something to eat. And then I'm just like, I'm tired. I don't want to do it.
Never mind. I don't want to.
Yeah. So I have to give myself that grace too, and just be like, it's okay. Take a break,
So I don't know if you guys like go to the gym or whatever, go to the gym and work out quite often.
Me and Jeremy used to.
It's kind of like one of those things where it's like, I don't really want to go to the gym today, and you just don't want to do it, and then you finally, if you do it, you typically feel better.
Yeah.
And it's much like doing all this with procrastination with cars and whatnot. But anytime I keep putting something off, and then I finally do it, and then I'm like, damn, why did I wait so long? I could have knocked this out. And then I feel really good about it. And I'm all like excited. Yeah. I'm like, I should have just done this to begin with.
I totally get that feeling. Yeah, I totally understand that. I get the same way. And about going to the gym too. It's like, I know I'll feel better, but damn it, I'm feeling so tired or so lazy. I just it's so hard to get off your ass sometimes.
Yeah. Well, so that's part of what kind of got me, I guess, away from the cars there for a bit. So there for, I don't know, quite a while, I was going to this gym, and then I actually went through a program with them to become a trainer. Mm-hmm. So I was like working with them and doing like coaching group classes and working out and working and then having more kids. So the cars really sat for a while. Yeah. And then my main job picked back up a lot, and I wasn't available to coach. So here I am. And then last fall, I tweaked my back again, like getting up to use the bathroom one night. And
sneeze wrong.
Well, so I had a back surgery in 2019.
Oof, yeah.
So but I ended up going to physical therapy again and quit going to the gym, and went through my physical therapy, and then work got crazy, and I started going back to a gym now, but it's like 1 or 2 days a week because my schedule's been so crazy.
Yeah.
And I just, at this point, I go in there for mobility so I don't hurt my back. just the kind of, and I need to get in there more. And it's the same thing. I could go, but I don't feel like it.
Yep. Yeah, it's really hard. It's hard to find that motivation.
Yeah.
Just because
Oh, yeah.
life is so busy and, so many different things and all the, I don't know, responsibilities, I guess. You
Yep.
know, they weigh on you, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Totally understand.
yeah,
And we all
absolutely.
face that same issue. And it's, I don't know, it's like we all have this common car bond and we want to work on our cars and show them off and that kind of stuff. But we also all kind of get that how hard it is to find that time.
Yeah.
We have to give ourselves a little bit of a break to be like, it's okay, man. It'll be there.
Yeah, I feel like for me,
Yeah.
like this last couple of months has been trying to focus on getting projects done.
Yep.
And something you and me have talked about, Rob. I think maybe Jeremy, we've talked off air on this a little bit. Is I feel like with me, for example, when I'm getting a project that has to be a heavy amount done to it, it's isolating myself and just doing that. But the
Yeah.
problem is when you're doing that, you take everything else. You don't have, a social life. You're just in this area working on the project.
Yep.
And so it's kind of a sacrifice you have to do, but you're making progress at it.
Yeah.
I
agree. Yeah, my shop is very isolated, as is yours.
Yeah.
When I'm in there working, there is nobody else.
But I know it's not always like that. Like when Jeremy worked on the 924, I would say did you feel like it was like that? Because I felt like it was like you would always have people over working on it with you. Ryan would be here, or I would be here, or Cy.
About 90% of the work I put into that car
Yeah.
was by myself.
Okay. So do you feel like it's more like how like me and Rob were saying? Where it's just
Isolated.
I think I think you're probably a little bit more isolated. There were times that you guys came over and helped. The day that we got it fired up, all of us were here.
yeah.
And I think I probably needed that to get it to actually fire.
Yeah.
But as far as prepping it to get it, close enough to that point to actually get you guys to come over and help,
Yeah.
I had to get out there by myself to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty typical for your car project guy. Yeah, for sure. So, Chris, how about future projects? We kind of talked a little bit or touched on future projects, but what ideas do you have? You got you have a burning desire to pick up a C10 or a Corvette or something
So
like
I
that?
actually sold a C10 last year.
Did you?
Nice.
Yeah, I had a 69 two-wheel drive short bed step side,
Oh wow, that's cool.
and I bought it in 2018. And I've always wanted a short bed two-wheel drive or a four-wheel drive long bed that's a 67 to a 72.
Yeah.
And I found this one in 2018. I picked it up. I saved it out of the woods behind this guy's house. I got it. Actually hadn't ran in years. Got it running, built an exhaust for it, put a carb on it, tires, and then I had a back surgery, and then I had another kid, and then I had another kid,
Oh my gosh.
and then it just sat,
Yeah.
and I was constantly moving because it ran, but the brakes didn't work, and I had went through and I had put shoes and wheel cylinders, rebuilt the brakes, and put a new master cylinder on it, and was bleeding everything, and blew out a line in the back, and then I'm like, screw this, I'm getting to it later, and I never got to it.
Yeah.
And I did gather some more parts for it, and I had picked up a NV 3500 that I was going to swap into it. It had a 3-speed with a floor shifter,
Oh.
and so the truck was originally a 6-cylinder 4-speed. Somewhere along the line, and it actually had a bunch of different stuff in it. But when I got it, it had a small block and a 3-speed, and I don't know if you guys have ever messed with the old linkage style manual transmissions, but it had a really cheap shifter on it,
Okay.
and it would pop out a gear and then sometimes select 2 gears at once,
Oh.
and then it wouldn't move, and it was just a nightmare.
Yeah.
And I did some research and ended up finding like a shifter body from the 60s. It was a Hurst shifter body, and like made it all work. But I ended up running it through a fence one time because it got stuck between gears. It was great.
Oh.
Yeah. But it's sat, and I got tired of moving it all the time. And I'm like, I have no desire to mess with this thing. I've got too much clutter, too many cars sitting around.
Yeah.
And so I sold it on eBay last year.
Yeah.
And I made decent money on it, but
Yeah, I was going to ask if you did okay on it because honestly, the popularity of those has blown up.
Skyrocketed.
yeah, I made 4 times what I paid for it. So
Perfect.
You sell it to a guy named Chad?
Yeah, so about that.
Yeah, Chad, come pick that up.
But I mean, I'd like to have another one eventually, but I don't have the time
Yeah.
and money and room right now.
Yep.
And
Do you think
I'm at a point. Go ahead.
do you think, Chris, it's better in your current situation, or as well as you recommend to others, to have one project and focus on that, or just get multiple projects and do what you can when you're able to?
Have one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think in that situation, one is probably
That's
your
the
best
good
bet.
advice.
Yeah, that's the smart advice. Now, what we actually do is completely different. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely have one. I learned that at a young age, and I'm like, yeah, you can't do 2 at once. It doesn't work out.
Yeah.
And I kept doing it. So
Yeah.
that's if you're talking about future projects, that's
Yeah.
what I'm looking to do is I want to blow my Trans Am completely apart and paint it.
Mm-hmm.
It needs a quarter panel. I have the quarter panel. I plan to weld it on myself. I've never done any type of body work like that, but we're going to do it.
Yeah.
I've done everything else on that car. I'm going to do the metal work and body work and paint.
Awesome.
I have a local friend who actually is one of our admins in our mullet militia with me. He does auto body on the side, so he's going to help me through the process. But ideally, I want to blow it apart and find a 6-liter or larger aluminum block engine to swap in it
There you go.
to take some weight off the nose and pick up some power. And I need to either go through the T56 or sell it and buy a Magnum F.
Is the
needs a
Magnum
variant.
F, what's that? Is that like an offshoot of a T56?
Or,
Yeah,
or
it's
60.
Yeah, so it's like Tremec sells it now, and it's basically a TR6060 that's set up to fit, I guess, like the F-body chassis.
Yeah.
Okay.
People, you can put them in just about anything, but it's got the proper shifter location to fit like an F-body.
Okay.
But you can actually, I want to say, pick them up for like $3,500, $3,800.
That's not bad.
And
Yeah. I paid for my. I have a TR6060 in Liger, and I paid $1,500 for that. So.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
And then you can sell a T56 for like $2,000.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you sell a stock one, and the money that it would cost me to rebuild mine and make it not quite as good as a stock Magnum F, it wouldn't justify the cost of just selling it and buying a new one.
Okay. Well, isn't it T56? Aren't they pretty stout transmissions?
Yeah.
Would it not be able to handle it?
They're good.
They are good transmissions, and for what I'm doing,
Yeah.
because I'm just basically doing burnouts and cruising around.
Mm-hmm.
Mine would be fine, but mine has a bent shift fork for 5th and 6th.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually had it ever since I've had it and put it in the car. And one of those things, I'm like, I'm not pulling this thing back out. I'll just skip 5th. So,
Yeah.
but after years of having it together, it really sucks going from 4th to 6th gear.
Yeah.
Because either 4th, you're winding out too much trying to cruise, or you go to 6th and you're lugging it too much. So I really need to fix that.
Mm-hmm.
But my Trans, I think it's like a 2001 T56, and I've had it since like 2012 because I had a Turbo 350 in the car first. But I've put several hard 1,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
It's got a used clutch kit in it that would come out of a turbo LS swap car that was local. But like I said, I built that thing with garbage.
You scraped it together, man. That's a good project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm
do
at
what
a
we
point
can.
now. I'd love to swap an aluminum engine in it, pick
Yeah.
up a little bit of power.
Yeah.
Like the long-term goal is like make a solid like 500 wheel horsepower with just an aluminum block engine, which is not super hard to do with a good cam and an LS3 with maybe head work and a good intake.
Yeah, no, for an LS3, it wouldn't take much to get it there. I mean,
no, not at all.
Not at all.
I mean, because my Caprice, I mean, it's baby. I mean, basically a baby LS3. It's a 6-liter LS3 heads, and it made 432 through an automatic and RS.
Yeah.
So,
well, there's your motor. Just pull it out of the Caprice. Just swap it over. I'm just kidding.
I like that car. It rides so nice.
Yeah.
But
it's your cruiser.
I mean, long wheelbase, heavy.
Yeah.
I mean,
floats. It's like it's on a cloud.
Oh yeah. But I don't know. I want to take that car apart and make it nice to where it's a nice driver that I can enjoy it, because it's at a point now where there's no heat, there's no air conditioning.
Oh yeah.
There's no wipers on it, and it's just it is. So I run this group. We run this group called Mullet Militia, but I don't like seeing those cars that gives them that stigma.
The ratted out. Yeah.
Yeah. Most and those third gens to me just don't look like. I like an older patina vehicle, but I don't like it on those. I like those when they're kind of nice or like Survivor quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like third gens.
I like garbage. I'm a giant fan of shit boxes.
You like PT Cruisers? Or
no, not really.
That's real garbage.
I think I just heard him puke in his mouth.
Yeah, totally just threw up right
the
there.
turbo ones?
Yeah, right. With the hood scoop
I
and
know
everything.
nothing about them.
Right.
Yeah.
But a friend of mine I actually met through the Caprice world. We have this own little group chat we have, and he's all about those turbo PT Cruisers.
Oh,
really?
Well, don't let him listen to our podcast because we shit on him every day.
Those turbo ones are essentially the SRT neons, right?
I don't know what they use for motor.
I think they're the same motor as the SRT.
Could be.
Yeah.
Well, so we know what your future project challenge is. I like that. That's a great project goal, right? It's gonna hard to get to with all the family and stuff. But you know what? You're not selling that car, so it's gonna it'll happen. It's just gonna take some time.
No. So what I think I really want to do, because my daughter will graduate next year from school. So I guess 2026. So ideally, I'd like her to be able to drive the car to graduation with it painted.
Oh yeah. So
that's where I'm kind of at a point now where I might just pull the engine and trans, kind of refresh what I have. Like it needs valve seals now. It smokes a little bit on decel. Maybe go through the engine, clean it up a little bit, maybe regasket it. Because when I stuck it in, I did like nothing. I replaced nothing. All I put in was valve springs and the can.
Yeah.
And so I did nothing, no gaskets, nothing. And
just reuse them. That's fine.
It's been fine. I've never had any leaks or issues over the years, but it's at a point where I'm sure that engine's tired. I just kind of want to, maybe not a full rebuild, but just kind of like
it needs a little freshening up.
Yeah, maybe valve springs and valve seals. Maybe actually put a trunnion upgrade in that thing, and then realistically, I can put a shift fork in that T56 for like $50. So I may end up just doing that.
Yeah, that's the time.
Yeah, well, if I'm gonna pull it apart, that's when I'm gonna do it.
You bet.
My daughter's boyfriend now, he's a car guy. He's into Mopars, and so another issue I have is I am not a organized person at all.
Yeah.
And it looks like a bomb went off in my garage all the time.
Oh, okay.
And so then I get into doing stuff, and then I get stressed because I have no room or I'm losing shit.
Oh, yeah.
And I get pissed off. And that's another reason why I procrastinate.
I know that feeling, though, too. Like, so for me, I make it a fact when I'm working on a project, my shop and tools are always clean before I do that. But the problem is, like, it becomes a mess while I'm working on the project. Yeah. And I know I lose time because I can't find things, like, during working. Yep. And if it comes to where it's that project's still out and it's still a mess, maybe like a week into it, I'll be like, let's refresh the shop and
Start
then,
over.
and keep going from
Yeah.
because just
Yep.
the time lost really it sucks. We're trying to spend 10 minutes to find that wrench that you set down 5 minutes ago.
I swear I had it, and the
Yeah.
whole time you're looking for it, it's in your back pocket.
Exactly, and you're distracted all that time because now you're trying to find the next thing, and that's now gone.
10 millimeter.
Yeah,
Yep.
you
You had another thought.
Yeah, Chris, I got a question for you.
Uh,
So being so big in the Trans Am, what's your thoughts on the Screaming Chicken?
So, I love it.
Okay.
So that car, my screen name on all the forums from back in the day, and the screen name on everything I've ever done is Screaming 86
Yes.
for
Nice.
the Screaming Chicken and the 86 Trans Am.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so the license plates on that car even say Screaming 86.
Oh, I love
That's
it.
awesome.
And like on all, like my screen name on Xbox and everything I've ever done has always been Screaming 86.
Mhm.
That's cool.
So,
I like
'cause
the Screaming
what
Chicken.
what I always wanted, and I'll have one eventually, is I want a
Nice.
77, 78 Trans Am.
Yeah.
The whole Smokey and the Bandit.
Black and
I want
gold.
one.
Black and gold with that. Yeah.
Yep.
That'd be good.
Oh, yeah.
So what you're saying is you
Yeah,
kind of like the chicken.
I think he's into the
Just
chicken.
into the chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems
Oh,
like.
yeah.
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 So do you guys have food lines out there, like grocery store called Food Line?
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Oh.
I'm not sure. I'm sure it's, I can't remember. It's different names, different places.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, it's the logo they have is like a little lion. And when I got the car, one of my good friends from high school, his dad was like, because my car actually had a bird on the hood. I'll have to find some old pictures to send you guys. But it was peeling off of it or whatever.
Mhm.
And he was like, "Oh, you're gonna redo that and put the food line on it?" I'm like, "Shut up." And I was working there at the time.
We just
when I
looked
was
it
in high
up.
school.
Yeah.
We just looked it up. That would be kind of funny.
So look at that and tell me if I'm wrong. You know those Stanley cups? Look at the symbol on the Stanley cup.
Okay, so let's see. We got this. Let me look up a Stanley Cup real fast.
Okay. That's what the food line looks like.
Okay, hang on.
All right. Well, we're looking that up, Chris.
Yeah.
You've got quite the family, and Christmas is, always a thing. Did you ask for car parts for Christmas?
No, I never do.
No? You're afraid you won't
No.
get the right ones, huh?
Well, that and it's like stuff's gonna be expensive.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah.
so I get a lot of memorabilia, car stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like-
That's not bad.
Yeah. Yeah, like I've got some drawings and stuff I've got all over my walls of different cars. People will get me, car. I don't need any T-shirts at all because I have a million T-shirts. But it probably looks like I'm sponsored by Holly because of how many Holly shirts I've bought
Oh, yeah.
from going because I've been at LS Fest and they have really good deals and I'll order like one of every new shirt they have that year.
Oh, yeah.
So,
That's funny.
You don't have any High Octane Daddies shirts?
Ooh, no, they're tank tops with the low
I got the
cut.
booty shorts,
The booty shorts.
the Daisy Dukes.
Oh man, please tell me the back also says juicy.
I almost spit my water.
That's awesome.
Oh shit! But God,
Yeah. New logo
Oh.
opportunities just happened.
yeah.
There you go.
Oh, man.
But so that Food Line logo and the Stanley Cup logo looks pretty similar.
Are you talking about the Stanley Cup like the trophy, or are you talking about Stanley Cup like the actual
No.
cup? 'Cause
That
one
cup,
with the
Not
bear.
that.
Yeah, I see it.
Everybody's obsessed about.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
the one with the bear you're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
okay.
like if you kind of glance at it, it's like,
Yeah.
what the hell is that? And my wife bought one of those cups, and I was making fun of her, and I'm like, "Look at that! You got the Food Line symbol in there." She looked at it. She said, "No, I don't." She's like, "Oh, fuck! It kind of does look like
It
it."
does.
Yeah, it does.
Take the bear head and replace it with the lion.
Yeah,
exactly.
I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know a guy that can laser etch one of those onto the cup for you,
Oh, that would be awesome.
right?
Yeah. Put the Food Lion logo right above it. That's funny.
No, I love the Screaming Chicken though.
Yeah.
I actually, at one time, I wanted to, if I would have done it many years ago, I probably wouldn't do it now. I wanted somebody to, when I painted it, to airbrush like a kind of like a ghost version of the bird on the hood.
Oh,
where
that'd
be cool.
I want to repaint the car white and like it was, but I want it to be just like a real faint, like white pearl or silver, just kind of like a ghost.
You could
And
probably
then
do it
clear
in
it over.
vinyl. You could probably do that in vinyl.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking at this point.
And then, if you get sick of it or don't really like it, you could take it off really easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think
Oh, yeah.
the Phoenix, they're like if they were to remake and make a new Trans Am, and I know there's been modifications.
A lot of
Camaros,
talk about that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that design should stay true to what it is, or could you see a company, or seeing Chevy like redesigning it, and do you think that would be heresy?
No, I mean,
Kind of like how
I'd be
Viper
down
did,
with it.
like with the Viper logo. They've had like multiple renditions, and
Yeah.
each one's different.
oh yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I'd be down
I
with it
really
if
don't
they
know.
stayed kind of true to the original heritage of it.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool.
I would
Yeah.
agree.
Like I like
Um,
the what they did with the new gen 5th and 6th gen Camaros. I think they're a good looking car. And it plays
yeah.
on the heritage of the original Camaro.
Yep.
And I think they did a good job with that. So if they brought out a Trans Am, I mean Pontiac's no longer,
Yeah.
but if they brought
Right.
out a Trans Am that was actually true to the heritage of the car, I think that'd be cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I would, yeah, as long as they stuck with the Phoenix, and even if they updated it, I think that'd be kind of cool too.
You know what the problem would be? It would be an electric car.
Fuck.
Oh yeah.
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 We've thrown up multiple times. It's terrible.
I don't know. Here's something to think about. So Chevrolet stopped making the Camaro.
Chevrolet.
Chevy.
I love it when he does that.
Chevrolet.
What?
It's Chevrolet.
Why are you laying it down? You're supposed to let
It's
it up.
not Chevrolet.
Okay.
Go ahead. Say
Chevrolet.
Chevrolet.
Okay, this is obviously I'm a Chevy guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Go back to your Ford.
Okay, so from Chevrolet, let's see.
Stick with Ferrari or something.
Yeah. They stopped making the Camaro. If they were to bring back the Camaro, that's most likely not going to happen because they've already discontinued. But that actually opens the door for if they were to bring back a Firebird or Trans Am or something and still keep that similar body because they have all the the molds and stuff for that. That'd be a way to bring it back, especially with Ford going like we talked earlier in this episode, but like the GTD and stuff.
I don't think they could. I mean, yes, there was a Firebird in that same era, but I think they'd have to make a car more similar to the, well, I guess it would be second gen, right? The 77, 78 version. Something,
Yeah. I
Yeah.
believe so.
something that looked more like that rather than trying to just upgrade or whatever, take a Camaro and make it into a Trans Am.
Well, they could go the route that Nissan did with the 370Z and make the 400s or the new quote unquote Z.
Right.
Where it's based off the old body,
Right.
but the whole design is different on the outside.
I think there is a company that does that, Rob.
There is.
Yeah, there
I know,
is.
but we're talking like manufacturer.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because if you have like already the molds and stuff for like a good chassis and everything from there, and now you have to go from just the outer skin body to change it from a company manufacturer, that makes sense. To
Oh, it
bring back
does.
something
Yeah.
like that. But because they're not going to come back with a Camaro, so what would be the next thing up in line if they had something looking like a Camaro?
Well, since Chevy didn't quote unquote make the Trans Am, it's not going to happen
Yeah.
because it was Pontiac. Even though it was under the GM umbrella, it was still a different company.
I mean, they brought back Hummer. Who knows? They might bring back Pontiac.
Well, because it was blatant that they bought it.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, whatever. Chris, what three
Yep.
vehicles would you really like to drive someday? And does not mean you have to own it, just something
Right.
you want to drive.
A DeLorean.
Woo!
Good call.
A normal DeLorean or Back to the Future DeLorean? Big difference.
I suppose so.
I mean,
It's the same
if I
car.
could get the Back to the Future one, absolutely.
Yeah,
There we go.
If you're gonna do it, right?
I mean,
You know what? So you know what did it for me for that
the
car?
flux capacitor.
oh yeah,
Well, yeah,
yeah,
but
You
In
can
the
buy
very
one
first
on Amazon.
yeah.
and when they were in there in the at the mall,
At
you
the
get
Twin
all the
Pines
close-ups
Mall?
where they're like,
Twin Pines.
Yeah.
yeah.
well, they're out there like revving it, and like I'm like, man, that thing sounds badass. But now knowing about them, they're a turd.
Right.
Yeah.
But in the movie, I'm like, man, that thing sounds awesome, and I'm like, that's an awesome looking car. And I mean, I watched as a kid, I watched all three of those movies
Oh yeah.
constantly.
100%.
We had like VHS copies of them that we recorded off like HBO or something,
Yeah.
and I watched them, and then finally my parents bought me like the trilogy on VHS, and I had them for many years, and yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
Nice.
DeLorean, what's it called?
Doge Viper.
No.
Oh, sorry.
I kind of want to put that into an AI render and see what comes up with a Doge Viper.
Doge Viper.
Viper.
Yeah.
Oh my god. What's the Ford? Not the
Pinto?
no, a Pantera.
Oh,
Oh
Yes.
yes. Good call.
Good call.
A Pantera.
That's a
Because
great
they
car.
had 4 draft. That's what I was thinking.
Yes.
A Pantera. What
that does
else?
have a 351 in it.
It does.
It does.
Yeah.
351 Cleveland.
The ZF transaxle.
Yeah, those things are pretty badass.
Yeah, I love that car. One of my favorites.
What else?
I think that was on your top 10 list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough question. Like, what? Are you a supercar guy? Do you like supercars?
Yay, Ferrari.
Yeah.
So
Some
No.
people, that's fine. I mean, some people just are not, and that's totally,
but
yeah.
if I were to have them, what I would want would be a McLaren F1 and a McLaren P1.
P1 and an F1. Yeah, that's absolutely a great call. You bet. Probably two of the best McLarens, maybe beside the Senna, that are out there.
Real fast, sorry, I'm dying. I had to mute my mic. I just put in ChatGPT Doge Viper, and this is what came up.
It's got a. You got to describe that. So it's a
It is-
Viper with a
With a Doge,
Doge on the hood.
like the whole car.
It's a dog.
Yeah,
This is exactly what you think it would be.
that's pretty hilarious.
We'll have to post on Instagram later.
Yeah,
Yeah, send it to me.
Save that image. All right, third car. What do you got?
One of the Lambos like was in Cannonball Run.
The Countach.
Oh, the Countach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Quattrobel,
Countach.
5,000.
yeah.
Is that the one they wash the paint off of?
Yep.
Yes. Nice.
They washed
I
the paint.
think they washed it in the second one, maybe. I don't
Yeah.
know, but one of them,
Yeah.
yeah, Countach from that era.
Good call.
Nice.
Good call.
I
How
got one in the
about
garage if you'd like to drive it.
you don't have a that one.
No, you don't.
Maybe get it running first,
I
and
should
then we'll
probably get it running first.
yeah, and then you can give rides.
Yeah.
or let them drive it
There you go.
Or sell it.
or sell it.
Or put an anime on
And
in front
don't
of
let
it.
need to give-
anybody drive it or ride in it.
Oh,
Well, maybe before we sell it, we should do that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm out. I'll video.
I'll risk my life in it. All right, next question. What's your dream car garage? If money's not an issue, what cars would you want to own? What 3?
What 3?
Yeah.
Does it count stuff I've already got or stuff that?
If
Yeah.
that's like your dream car, absolutely. Like
So, my
obviously
Trans Am.
you've kept your Trans Am all these years. I mean that's high on the list.
That's not gonna go anywhere.
Yeah.
My Trans Am, and I've liked every generation of them, but ACTSV.
Oh,
What's
okay.
an ATS? What? Is
Not the. I'm talking about. I said, well, I didn't.
that Star Wars
A
reference?
CTSV.
CTS.
No, 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 no.
Cadillac.
Okay.
Cadillac.
Okay.
Cadillac CTSV.
Yeah.
I really like a V3, but I've liked every generation, but they keep getting better. So I'm like, man,
Yeah.
like a V3 or Blackwing.
Blackwing. Yeah.
Yes, I just saw that
Oh yeah.
this week,
Yes.
actually.
And I guess I'm gonna. I hate to keep it all GM, but
Hey, if that's what you like, it's all right.
man, this one's a toss up because I want something that's gonna haul people, and so either a GMT 800 Suburban, like what I've got, a 2000 to 2006 with a Duramax swap.
Yeah, the Duramax swap would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's a company that does them. They call Duraburb,
Oh,
and it's a pretty easy swap if you do an 03 to 06. Because everything's CAN bus, you can plug everything in.
Oh, nice.
Mine is a 2000, so there's a little more involved. Honestly, I don't need a diesel at this point in my life, but for this scenario, I want a super clean Duraverb, modified, but more so just for towing and driving and hauling people around.
Yeah.
But for me, I'd have to bulletproof everything because I'll break it.
There you go.
Or a 73 to 87 square body 3+3 4-wheel drive.
Wow.
1 ton, but
There
I
you
don't
go.
want a dually.
Long bed?
Yes.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a beast.
I mean, that's the only way they came, but people do cut them down and make
Make a short
we
bed.
have
Of 'em.
short beds out of
Yeah.
them.
That's a beast. That's a good list. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What car's a hard no?
Hard no.
Hard no. Somebody gives you the keys. You got to drive it like 100 miles or walk. What? And you're just like, nope,
It would be 100 miles. It'd be forever.
whatever.
Just
Yeah.
it'd be just
It's random.
private.
Whatever. Here it is. You got to drive it. And you're just like, nope, don't want it. I won't drive it.
Most BMWs.
Must be.
Most
Nice.
BMWs.
Wow.
That's going to make some
Well-
of our listeners mad.
I don't care.
Hey,
I love
but,
it.
But I'm not saying there's anything inherently wrong with the cars. That's what totaled my Yukon was a BMW. So I was a little salty at them for a while,
Oh, yeah.
and I love that thing.
So you don't
But,
want their driving style to rub off on you.
Exactly.
The
Now,
fact that they don't
that
have
wa-
turn signals and stuff.
Yeah. That was an option.
What was it? What was the E? Was it the E46 or something? What was the 550i? The V8 or it was a
I don't know. I have no idea.
I'm not a
Not a
BMW.
I don't know.
guy.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't know. That's it had like a 4.4 V8.
Yeah.
You get them in 6-speed manual.
Yeah,
sedan.
the
Those would be
550
kind of fun.
550i twin turbocharged 4.4 V8. 400
Well,
to
yeah,
550.
that's the
Yeah.
newest ones.
Yeah.
That's the newest ones. I'm
Similar
thinking,
in
like,
an older version. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like the older ones, but
Yeah.
I'm not denying they're rowdy. I've had some friends that have had some quick BMWs, and then friends that have E30s that they autocross and road race, and they're a fun car. But I'm just, I don't know, a little salty over them.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. You're the first to say a BMW. So
Oh yeah.
that's all right.
What I really want for like a driver is one of the Ford Mavericks. I don't know
Really?
why.
Oh, the new ones? Yeah.
I want to
Yes.
test drive one. See what.
Oh, the little truck.
The truck, yeah.
Yeah.
They make
Yeah,
an
just-
all-wheel
just-
drive version.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. So you can get them in the hybrid version or the 4-cylinder EcoBoost.
Mhm.
And you can get them in all-wheel drive. And I would get the all-wheel drive
I would too.
EcoBoost, and then put like a base model and just
Yeah.
use it for around town daily. And I
Yeah.
can throw some stuff into bed if I want to.
Perfect daily driver.
It would
Oh, yeah.
honestly be a really
Economical.
good run up to the mountain to snowboard for the day rig.
Yep. The Ford's all-wheel drive system is super good.
Yeah.
Like the traction in those things is amazing. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, everybody
agree.
that I've known that have had one or been around them, they say that they love it
Yep.
for what they are.
Yep. That's what I've heard
And
too.
they're not super expensive.
No, they're not. Like top of the line
32
Lariat
grand.
36.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the very top, but I mean,
Yeah.
you're looking at like
Yeah.
mid 20s for a used one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something.
Yeah, I remember when they first came out, you could get like the base model with the hybrid front wheel drive and be like out the door for like 22.
Oh, that was like 17 or 18, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not much more than that now, I don't think. For
But you can't find them that cheap though. That's the one thing that sucks.
No,
the base
no.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean,
Yeah.
at this point, I'm sure a lot of lots are adding things to them. But honestly, I may look into one of those down the road because you see a lot of them as fleet cars.
Yeah.
And I mean, I may end up looking around and finding one that's like an old fleet car, but then I'll probably buying a whole bunch of somebody else's problems. But
Yeah.
here we are.
Something
The whole
somebody
EcoBoost
beat on.
scenarios from earlier.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Hopefully it's
Yeah.
got a 2.7 in it.
I don't think they put the
they're-
2.7 in the.
No? Oh, it's
Yeah.
a 4-cylinder.
Yeah, it's a 4-cylinder.
Yeah.
So
I think whatever the
1.8. I don't know.
They made it. No,
Oh,
the
right.
the hybrid's a 3-cylinder, and then they put I think a 2-cylinder EcoBoost into it.
Not a
Two-
2.
not a
2.7?
Sorry, a 2.0 4-cylinder.
Okay.
EcoBoost.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Something like
the hybrid I believe is a 3-cylinder. Let me look it up real fast.
Yeah, no problem. Cool. Well, Chris, we've kept you for like an hour and a half. I really appreciate your time, and I know it's getting late over there. But thanks for being on the show, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody, check out Chris's show, High Octane Dads, or as Grant calls it, High Octane Daddies.
Woo!
Yeah, when you guys make those shirts, let me know. I want one.
Yeah,
I'll take a booty shorts.
Yeah. Absolutely.
the juicy shorts. Yeah. Thanks again, and we will talk to you soon, man. And have a great holiday. I know the show won't air until after the holidays, but anyway, for you, have a good holiday.
Yay.
Merry
Awesome.
Christmas.
You
Merry
guys
Christmas.
too.
Thanks, man. And yeah, we'll be in touch.
All right. Absolutely.
Thanks, Chris.
Have a good night.
All right.
Bye.
You too.
Cool. That was good. Nice to talk to Chris, the other half of the High Octane Dad show. Get some insight on his side of the world. Yeah, I like it. So moving forward for tonight's show, probably
We got
another.
lots of stuff tonight.
Well, we don't have to hit it all, but we. Oh yeah. Shall we start with that topic?
Which one?
You.
Yep.
Yeah,
I say we do.
it.
The topic is drum roll. Will Jeremy take on a project in 2025?
There's a good possibility of that because I do need something for Alaska.
Yeah.
And
So you're thinking of building a project here and taking it up?
yeah. I don't know if I'll. Obviously, I want to buy something that's running.
Yeah, I mean the project's not going to be super.
Real
deep.
fast
Yeah.
for our listeners, because you've talked about a boat, a truck, a car. Can we clarify what project?
So
Motorcycle,
I have a boat up there.
Okay.
KLR
That
650 diesel.
Currently, actually, that's not off the table.
That'd be cool.
I have a boat up there, or
Okay.
my wife does, that is a project.
Yeah.
So it won't be a boat probably this year.
Okay.
That one will have to get in the water and running next time I go up there. And then my wife's cousin and I can talk about selling that one for the next boat. This would be something. So we have a truck up there that needs to be fixed. My wife doesn't want a piece of shit sitting on the lot up there that doesn't run. So that'll have to get fixed. But we want something that we can just run to town in to pick up groceries. And
I have an idea.
yeah.
Suzuki Samurai.
So I've been looking at like all these different rigs, right? What are those little trucks called? Like the Honda.
I want to call them a sidekick.
I
Isn't
think
that what those are like? I know what you're looking at.
tuk-tuks?
Yeah.
Tuk.
Tuk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar.
So
A little 2-seat with a flatbed on it.
Yeah.
But they're a mini truck.
That's right.
yeah.
So I've been kicking around the idea of one of those. The problem is I think they top out at like 55.
Yeah.
And up there, that would be fine. But getting it up there, most of that freeway getting up to Canada is 70.
I wonder about, because we'd talked about shipping up there before,
Yeah.
but one of those is small enough you could put it in a container
Yeah. Yeah.
and you can split shipping costs with other
People,
companies,
yeah.
people, whatever. You get it, you take up a little bit of the container, you pay $1,000 and it gets there.
Problem with that is I still have to drive it to Seattle.
No, you can ship it from here.
I don't know if I can ship from here to Ketchikan.
Well, I haven't looked into it, so I can't say definitively, but we
You
should
could have it.
here to.
You could always throw it on a low boy, have it dragged up to Seattle, and then from there load on to
Or a train. I could probably put it on a
whatever.
train.
Yeah.
I got an idea, Jeremy. If you're looking for a vehicle that you're not going to like, you tell me no. But I think it would be a great idea.
Okay, here we go.
TDI Touareg, early gen.
Also, no.
TDI Touareg.
Yeah,
No,
decent.
I need
Oh, too expensive, too.
I need
So-
something that's not going to have electrical issues because there's not a whole bunch of mechanics up there.
So that's the thing is the Touareg, the early gens ones are known for electrical issues in terms of like infotainment system or whatever.
That's too expensive of a vehicle.
hang on.
I'm gonna interrupt you.
Okay.
That is too expensive of a vehicle for what he's looking for.
Okay.
So let me give you some
he wants a
criteria.
beater.
Okay.
So let me give you
Not
some
necessarily
criteria.
beater, but something simple.
I'm going to have to be able to get parts for it.
Okay.
I can guarantee foreign parts are not going to be easy.
Okay.
I'm going to have to be able to get somebody up there to work on it because I'm only going to be there 2 weeks at a time.
Okay.
Right. So
Ideally, you don't ever have to work on it.
Yeah,
Right.
because realistically, how many miles do you plan on putting on it a year?
Couple hundred.
probably 500
Yeah.
or less.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, the main thing is as long as you have a vehicle that like isn't going to explode within 3,000 miles.
It
or
also
10,000.
has to fire up when
Yeah.
I get there
Yeah.
Yeah.
after sitting for a year.
Yeah. So the more and in the cold.
So you're not going to have anyone that's going to just go and start up.
I
family
mean,
members
the
there?
family up there will go and start it once in a while. But they did
Yeah.
that to the diesel truck that's up there. And when I got up there, it fired up and I couldn't get it in gear.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
So I'm just going to defend myself for the Touareg though,
Okay.
because the Touaregs
where's that mute button?
Terrible
right
idea.
here. So the Touareg, the reason is they're really good off-road vehicles. They've been like, and you can get them fairly cheap, like $3,000, $5,000 for that.
For a Touareg,
Yeah,
$3,000.
I'm going to need you to do some
$5,000.
research.
$5,000 to
and
know.
send it to me.
$3,000 maybe
I,
for a really.
I have
beat-up
my
one.
serious doubts about that.
There's
Touaregs are
YouTube
expensive.
channels that go all
So-
about like how like reliable and off-road of a vehicle they are, which is just insane.
So, okay, they'll go off-road. Does that mean they go...
They don't come
on a-
back on the road.
Do they go on the gravel well, or is that in
no,
the
like
snow?
rock crawling and stuff.
What?
Yeah, I'll send you the videos later.
You're going to
Is
need
he
to
naming the
prove this.
wrong vehicle?
No,
I think so.
I think he
Not.
needs to prove it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
You're
'cause
going to
they've
need to prove
challenged.
their limited slip on there is like
You're challenged.
it's super active. They glitch on their ground clearance. Okay, probably not the best for the models that had air suspension.
Touareg is a
I know it's an SUV.
Yeah.
I know, but
Their
this is
air
a
suspension
This
one.
is a mommy street car.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's the YouTube channel I watched that was showing about that is because most people think that
It
But the
totally
early
is a soccer mom car.
Touaregs had 36 inches of ground clearance. Like they're just insane.
No,
No.
You're telling me those
36
things have
inches?
3
No.
feet
Hang on,
of ground
let me look up what
clearance.
the ground clearance is.
I'm
I would be
calling
surprised-
Hang on.
bullshit
me
on
too.
that.
I would be surprised at 8 to 10 inches.
Touareg,
of
hang
ground
on.
clearance.
I can guarantee it doesn't have 2 feet.
No,
Ground
absolutely not.
clear and serious.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'm thinking something like maybe even a little older. So when he
Yeah.
was talking about a Volvo wagon
Yeah,
that was lifted or something like that.
an off-road version,
Yeah. Okay. Something like that.
something that
Right.
can do snow.
But
Do you want smart four-wheel drive or don't care?
something all-wheel drive would be fine. It doesn't need it. 'Cause
You're
I'm
not
not
really
going to be
gonna-
up there in the snow.
That's what I was going to say. You're not really going to be there in the winter.
It could be a 2-wheel drive Toyota pickup.
Sure.
It could be, a front-wheel drive car.
Yeah.
But it can't
Something
shake
simple.
itself to pieces
Yeah.
in the 8 miles that it takes to get from the house to
Yeah.
asphalt,
Right.
right? Because it's an 8-mile drive
In the gravel.
in the gravel to get to the main road.
Pit it out. Is it washboard and pit it out? And
And yeah, it gets that
be.
way.
Yeah.
It definitely gets that way. They do grade it,
yeah.
but even grading it, the rain is going to wash
Sure.
holes into the road.
Yep.
And it just, every time I go up there, there's holes somewhere.
Right. Now I'm with you. Like an older Toyota or, either a 4Runner or a pickup truck. I think that's a great option. Probably something domestic for parts availability up there. I don't know what it looks like. Do they got a local Napa or
Yeah.
something?
There is one, yeah.
So
but
that's-
they don't have everything.
No, they don't. You got to order shit in.
Yeah, and they
They can get it.
they carry parts for the most common vehicles.
Exactly. That's
most
every
common-
auto parts store does that.
Why don't you
Yeah, and the most common vehicle up there is probably an F-150.
I thought you said
There you
Subaru
go.
last time. I thought you said last time it was a Subaru.
Maybe
No,
that's
in
what
Alaska.
you need.
Yeah.
No.
That's what you need to look for there. And it's like an F
Probably an F-150.
because
Yeah.
parts availability.
Why
would
not a
be
Cummins? You
the
think?
best.
Because that engine will run
So
forever.
let's talk
Not
about that.
necessarily.
Actually, go ahead.
Okay, before we start
Go
talking about
ahead.
that.
He finally found
that.
the ground clearance.
Okay.
Somebody lifted their Touareg.
No.
Yeah.
So
36
highest.
inches.
Okay, I was wrong, but I was
Yeah,
right.
we knew you were wrong.
Hang on. So for highest mode with the air suspension goes up to 11.8 inches.
That's not even fucking
Foot.
close.
However, for the fording depth is what it says.
Uh-huh.
It's 22.8 inches.
So you
Which is
almost get
still,
in 22
which is
inches
still
of water.
not 36 inches.
Okay,
Well,
I might have got that wrong.
just
But I
says
knew
you
it was
could
like
drive it
something
in 22
ridiculous.
inches of water.
Yeah.
It's still
before it
When
starts
are you
stock,
going to
though,
drive through
with
22
stock.
inches of water?
I think it's probably because they put on big wheels. Probably that's probably what was getting the 36. Because that and then plus whatever height they had on there. Because I know they put
And a
wheels.
lift kit and
They didn't put a lift kit on. Everything else is stock on it.
It's terrible.
But the fact is, like, you can get an extra 11 inches of travel just from air suspension height on that thing.
right. And when
No.
that air suspension goes out,
No,
where am I
that's not
getting
what that
parts?
said.
What?
That said maximum travel is 11 inches
No, it says-
with your air suspension, not an extra.
Maximum clearance was 11 inches.
Yeah, it's not an extra 11 inches. 11.8 inches with air springs in the highest mode. That is
That's
as high as
11
it
inches
gets.
of clearance.
Okay.
Not 11 more inches.
No, yeah, exactly. It's 11.8.
Oh, so if you take a tape measure,
So in
That's
normal
this
mode,
high
it's
off the
9
ground.
inches.
that's not that impressive. An F-150 probably has that.
At least that, yeah.
So comparison for Jeep Rubicon is a 10.3 ground clearance is what it says.
Stock.
Stock. Yes. But it's still less for a Jeep. It's less than mommy
it's-
car.
Yeah, it's not very much
Touareg.
for a Jeep.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
By the way,
thanks
I'm
for
not
making us laugh. I appreciate it.
By the way, I'm not impressed by the Jeep either.
Yeah, Jeeps have their place. I mean, I'm not anti-Jeep,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
But to have a good Jeep, you got to throw another $20,000 at it.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think you
mean-
could take a stock Rubicon, a stock. God, I don't know why I can't say
Bronco.
that tonight. Wrangler
Wrangler, yeah.
or whatever up there and be just fine.
Oh, yeah, no. For what I need it for,
Yeah.
stock would be perfect.
Oh yeah, I think it'd be great.
100%. Yeah. So let's go back to reliability in
Yeah.
the Ford
F-150.
and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What they have found in Alaska is the Fords last longer.
They have aluminum bodies now.
They do.
Yeah.
But like the body doesn't rust anymore.
Right.
The suspension doesn't fall apart. The motors don't shake themselves apart. Stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And
And power steering problems because it's all electric now.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like Chevy is probably number 2.
Yeah.
Dodge was actually the worst one out of the 3.
Toyota.
Toyota was number 2. Solid number 2 right after the Ford. And that could be a Tacoma or a Tundra. The problem with those are they're expensive.
Yeah, they are.
Even
Maintenance is expensive on those.
Yeah. Even used,
Yep.
the Tundras are substantially more than the other 3.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah, I've never really understood the Toyota fascination. Everybody says they last a long time and this and that, and I was like, okay, kind of.
I loved my Tundra.
Yeah.
The way it drove, it was super nice.
Yeah.
It could not hold a candle to the towing capacity of our trucks.
Right. No. Well, they're not 1-ton trucks.
Yeah. But every
But
once
for a
in a
light
while,
duty truck, I don't know. They don't. The other thing that kind of gets me about those is they don't get as good a gas mileage as like the F-150 fuel economy.
I got 18 miles to the gallon
Did
on
you?
the freeway, and
I've talked to
about
other people who are
12
like,
around
no,
town.
it's shit. The mileage is shit, and I'm like, huh?
the funny thing is the Tundra and the Tacoma both get about the same mileage.
Yeah.
They are shit, but an F-150 doesn't get
Anything better?
Any more
Not
than
better
that,
than that.
yeah.
No, it doesn't. All right. Well, that's interesting.
the truck I'm driving now doesn't get any less though.
No, honestly, it's the same. I get 17 miles a gallon around town in that big freaking truck.
I
Right.
was getting 26 earlier today.
Well, I
On
mean,
the freeway,
I can,
yeah.
I can get 28 on the freeway, but I don't drive the freeway all
Right.
the time. So,
Yeah, and when you do, there's a 40-foot trailer behind you.
well, I mean, often.
Yeah.
So there is that.
So yes, there will be a car or truck or
Something.
something that I will pick up for this year. Matter of fact, I'd love to get listener feedback on this.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think I should look at seriously? And a Touareg is not it.
Come on, Jimmy, be on my side.
Jimmy is not going to pick a Touareg.
No.
Oh,
Maybe the Volvo. Maybe a Subaru. You know, something along those lines. I could definitely.
Subaru would be okay.
Yeah. The thing I
depending
worry
on
about
what-
there is
what year.
who can I get to replace head gaskets?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like, what year
Right.
of a Subaru would you get? And then,
Probably right around 2010.
so if the head gasket's already been done,
Yeah.
you've got, at 500 miles a year, you don't have
Yeah.
to worry about it. Unless you let it
But
freeze.
I also want you to be able to go up there,
And that would be
jump
an
in
issue.
it, and,
right.
you know.
Somebody
him or
go up
me?
and borrow it.
Because you put
Either
me
one
in
of
it, I'll
you.
probably break it.
You fucking break my car up there and you'll never be invited back.
I'll tell you this: you put a car in my hands beforehand, and you let me see if I could break it, and I'll tell you if
Okay.
it will or will not break.
If you ever come up there,
Yes.
you're taking your own car.
Well, you say,
Or you're riding
give
shotgun.
it to
We're
me
gonna rental and take
before
it
it
to
goes
Alaska.
up there, Jimmy. Give it to me before it goes up there.
No.
so we could prove it doesn't break.
No.
Yeah.
I don't need it to be tested. It's
There's
not
no
going
trust.
to be ever tested.
No trust.
I wouldn't have this problem with a Touareg.
I don't think a Touareg could last one winter.
Oh man,
Just
buy
sitting
it,
there.
You buy it and I'll try it.
Yeah.
I'm actually tempted to do that bet.
You go ahead.
You buy it and I'll try it.
Oh man.
Okay. Let's move on.
Okay.
One more topic, and then I think we'll call it a day.
Okay. Then pizza.
So, which one you want to do?
Wait, we had a bunch. We should have a listener poll on this one.
Yeah, because we have that kind of time.
I kind of like A
A. Wait, which one's A?
A.
or B.
A or B.
Okay.
I like B.
Let's do B.
go with
Let's
B.
do B.
All right.
Still getting pizza, right?
Well, let's talk about it because that's this topic.
Thank God.
All right. So, when working on your project car
Yes.
in your shop,
Yes.
whether you have friends over or not, usually this is a friend deal.
Mm-hmm.
Other than beer and pizza,
Never had it happen.
what combination of food and drink
You've never had beer and
would you have to work on project cars?
Yeah, we never had beer pizza.
burgers,
Burgers, I think.
Burgers are pretty. I was thinking
Yeah.
tacos,
tacos, or a burrito.
tacos. And
I was
beer.
thinking
burritos and beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tacos.
I like. See, pizza is so perfect because you can have a slice, you can go back to work, you can come back and have another slice. You have a burger, you go back to work, there isn't any more.
Or a dog.
Well, dogs are good.
Yeah.
There's no leftovers.
Right.
But
Well, it depends
But
on
I
how
mean,
many
if
you
you're
make.
cooking, if you're I was thinking of buying food and
Right,
bringing
right.
it. But if you're cooking it on the barbecue,
Right.
Yeah, burgers. And
Depends on
dogs.
how many people are there, right?
Yeah.
And you're working on something. If there's 4 or 5 of you guys there,
Yeah.
man, fire up that barbecue.
No, I
You can
agree.
do whatever you want.
My brain just wasn't there, but no, that's exactly right. Yeah.
I just don't get a. I guess it's because I'm always working at a shop. I'm not working at home.
yeah.
Because I don't get how beer goes to that. Because you got to get there, and you don't want to drink too much where you can't drive. Then that's why I'm like,
You've never
We're not
been an
talking about that
alcoholic,
part.
though.
yeah, that's true. What?
We're not talking about that part. I mean, if you go over to your buddy's shop and you're helping him, put a motor back in the car, you got to have beer.
Really?
Yeah,
I
that's
have
like a
showed
six-beer
up
project.
to help you, cracked a beer, and drank it before I came in the shop to help you.
Yeah, that's how it rolls.
Like I know there's beer at my shop. We've got Corona that's sitting there for probably 7 years, and we're gonna bust them open.
Gross.
Once the Fiat's done.
Wow.
No, we won't.
You got mold growing.
I
up?
literally have them there for when it's done, just to bust one open.
Let's
Not
get
to drink
some
it,
new
just like
ones.
it's
Just to
kinda-
open it?
Just to open it like a
Oh,
ship. Big.
yeah.
He's going to christen it. He's going to break it over the front bumper
I like it.
after he gets it
perfect.
done.
All right,
You know.
get some video of that.
But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about food in the shop because when I'm working on a project, eating time is different than working on a car. I don't feel like you combination two. There's too much grease, oil, whatever.
If
on
you're
your
at the
hands.
shop for 10 hours,
I don't care.
Okay, if I'm at the shop for 10 hours,
I want food.
I'm going to
That's a
need to
easy
eat
day.
3 times.
Yeah.
3 times.
I'm going to be a complete cunt by the
I
time
have-
I.
Jeremy on the short day needs 3 meals.
No.
I have a
10 hours
fridge.
is
That's
a
only
full day
10
for me.
hours.
I have a fridge in my shop that
Yeah.
always has. Well, it always has beer.
Okay.
Sometimes seltzer and pop and water. So
Okay.
it's always got stuff to drink in it.
Okay.
That's all it is drinks fridge. But I also have from Costco like a giant can of salted peanuts
Okay.
because I get snacky.
Yep.
It's like I need to stand back and grab something to eat for a
Pull
minute.
your latex gloves off. Get a handful of nuts.
Fucking put my greasy old fingers in there and eat it. I don't care.
Greasy little dick.
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, if they're really bad, I'll wipe them off first. But
Yeah.
shoot, as much bad shit as I've eaten
could-
over the years,
I
a
could
little
see
grease on
you
the fingers is no big deal.
Popping the lid off of that thing and just shaking it into your mouth.
Yeah, I could probably do that too. Yeah, sure. Yeah,
And I could see like
and I throw some to the dogs because they're standing there staring at me.
Mm.
Yeah,
I could see like sealed snacks. Like in our other office, we have like chips
Yeah.
and Oreos and whatever. But they're like, crack it,
Yeah.
have like a small thing, and then eat
Sure.
what you need to. But like,
Sounds great.
It's still like something like I personally don't like to eat if I'm on top. Like, say if I'm working on an engine, I don't want crumbs in there.
well,
And
you're
you-
not
I'm not
working
gonna
over
get
the
in
top
it.
of the motor. This is over like at the workbench or somewhere else.
Well, yeah, then you take your break. You don't like
Exactly. I'm not saying you're eating and you got your hands in the motor at the same time.
Okay, this is a new concept to me. I haven't experienced this.
Well, you're going to have to come over to the shop and we'll figure it out. I'll
Yeah.
order pizza.
We'll put the tarp on the ghost car.
So, side note, I had a tarp in my garage that I don't know what I used it for recently, and it ripped. It was a fairly new tarp. Pulled it off the and it tore, and I'm like, oh, whatever. Took it out, put it on the ghost car. Got completely sidetracked doing something else, and forgot to strap it down.
So that tarp's in the middle of the yard now.
I have no idea where it's at.
It's in the middle of the
Just see
neighbor's
the dogs
yard.
running
Yeah.
away with it.
Yeah, it could be.
It's up by Silent Rock.
We had a 90-mile-an-hour windstorm there this last week, and
yes,
I don't
you
know
did.
where that tarp
Did it
is.
reach you guys? Because you're surrounded by logs, woods, trees.
It
Well,
gets
they're
windy
standing
outside.
up. They're still called trees at this point.
Pole logs.
Yes.
No, those are up.
It got pretty windy, but we didn't get the 90. Up on the top of the mountain, it was supposedly 90-mile-an-hour winds. But anyway, so we had a bit of a windstorm, and I looked out the window this morning or yesterday morning. I'm like, where'd that tarp go? So it's gone. Car is yet uncovered again. So
It is meant to be driven.
It is.
It is.
Probably wet.
it needs
as all
to get
get
to
out.
It needs to get to your shop.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gutted anyway, so whatever.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of that and speaking of food and pizza, so
Okay.
I think at some point at the shop will be great to have food and pizza,
Yes.
okay? Especially since there's an arcade going there right now.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Like, that's
coming
just
to
a
the
big-
house soon.
I was gonna go ahead and let you have an opportunity today to talk about your side
I
project.
can?
Yes.
His side
can't.
piece.
Okay.
side piece.
This is your free hall pass.
Yep.
I'm
This
going
is
to
it.
let the listeners
Okay,
know.
listeners.
We've
You're
been
along for the ride.
teasing this for the last 4 episodes.
Yeah.
Since Rebecca.
No, you've been teasing it.
Yes,
Not
we
we.
have.
Or-
We've been digging our heels in.
Yeah. So everyone's been wondering what's with the Countach, what's with the Lambo, and I'm like,
Yep.
well, I had to put the pizza down for a hot moment. I had to put
Yep.
the beer away because I'm like, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I had an opportunity to get something that I've always wanted since I was
He's
a
on
little
a
kid.
soapbox right
Yes,
now.
he is.
Let me tell you. So for those who are in the know, I recently acquired as a new project a 1997, not just one, two 1997 Jurassic Park Deluxe arcade machine cabinets. The ones that are the size of a car. They weigh 800 pounds apiece.
Oh, is that how heavy they are?
Yeah, and that's without
Wow.
TV. If they had the TV attached to it, it is 1,200 pounds.
Hold on, wait.
Holy smokes.
These are 800 pounds a piece.
You ready to move?
You know he's
baby?
asked me to help him move it into the house.
I don't doubt it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how they're going to get through the door. I was looking at it going,
He's gonna
how
have
is that
to.
going
They're gonna be in pieces.
They have to be.
Kind of. The cabinet's not, but anyways, so why and how this went and why I started going on this mad dash rant for this.
I want you to measure.
Okay, all you
that
car
thing.
project people, the Lambo is sitting because he got some video games. He got
Yes.
so sidetracked.
Yes.
It was so close to being done, ready to go.
Yes.
Ready to drive,
Yes.
where our listeners could have had a shot at driving a Lambo.
Yes.
Nope, not
No.
now.
No.
This is why this came up. This is because when we got back from SEMA, we had stopped at my old man's house while we were down there in Vegas.
Yep.
And at the time they had, and they still do have a pinball machine down there. So when we got home from SEMA, I was like, man, that was a cool machine. It'd be really cool to have an arcade machine at the house. And like car people like we do, we get on Facebook Marketplace, start random stuff. So I was like, let's put in arcade machine. What comes up? You know, it'd be even better. That arcade machine I remember as a kid and was always playing. I'd love to have that Jurassic Park machine, arcade machine, but that's never going to happen. But let's see what Facebook says. 5th search results down, I found that exact machine, both of them, on a post for $150. Now, to give our listeners an idea of why that was something I jumped on and thought, what is going on, was because at the current time that listing was up, there was 2 machines available. One was on eBay for $15,000, and one was on a arcade site for $18,000. And at first, if I was smart enough and saw the ad that it was a screenshot from an iPhone, probably would have thought it was fake. But I was too excited that I started texting the guy right away, and he sent me a full video walk around of the machines.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, I'm buying them, whatever it takes, yes, I'll come get them. And he's like, you need to bring something bigger than a pickup, because they're not going to fit in the pickup. So I'm like, oh yeah, no big deal. I'll just bring the car trailer. We'll load that in. That's no big deal. Not knowing after I said yes to find out, for our listeners to know, we are in Oregon. I had to drive up to Kent, Washington, a.k.a. 10 miles away from the border of Canada to get these things.
Where?
Kent, Washington
Not
is
Kent.
not
It's
10
not,
miles
oh,
from
not
the border.
Kent. What's it called? Linden?
Linden,
Washington.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
From getting that thing.
Yeah.
And I made myself a promise that I've been sticking to since I got them, though. Because I've been known to get projects, and they sit at my shop, or they get distracted with their projects.
Lamborghini.
And Fiat. And, you know.
We
Two.
love you. We
Two
love you, man.
Fiats.
We love you. Keep going.
So
There's a crane next to the building,
there's another,
too.
and another crane, and another crane. Anyways.
And a Kenworth.
In the Kenworth. With this arcade machines, because when I saw the video, I knew there was potential what was going there.
Yeah.
My goal was, I said, this is not going to take past December. If I can't get this done by the new year, I need to just, or something major happens where it's like, I can't fix this, I'm selling it. And so I've been working day and night at the shop, really buckling down. I know a little bit of electronics, but not a heck of a lot. The biggest thing with these machines were they sat in this guy's garage for 3 years.
Yeah.
And surprisingly...
Probably because he couldn't find parts.
Well, no. So this is the story behind this. And another side note to the side note. When the owner of these machines got it, him and his buddies 3 years ago went on a house to buy a house together, and they were flipping houses. When they opened the garage, they found 10 of these machines in there. So whoever the previous owner of the house was restoring them. So once they cleaned the whole house, all their buddies thought this was the coolest thing, and each of them took 2. He's like, I'll just take 2 worse ones. I'll figure out what to do. So for the past 3 years, he's told me he's had it on Facebook Marketplace. Originally, he had them at $250 a piece to sell them. But he'd get contact from people, and they would say, is it for sale? Yes, it's for sale. And they'd be like, great, what do I need to do to fix them? He's like, I don't know. I'm not this kind of guy. And so people wouldn't come and buy it. So people would come and say, yes, what's wrong with it? And he's like, I don't know. Or they wouldn't show up. And so he had them for 3 years. And
Typical
when I told him that
marketplace
I was going to come and buy it, he's like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then I said, I'm from Portland. He's like, oh, yeah, definitely. You're going to come and get this.
Okay, what's the address?
Yeah.
I was like, you have not listened to our show. You don't know
Yeah.
how diehard Jurassic Park guy I am. And the moment I was texting him saying, I'm on my way, he's like, oh, God, he's actually coming. So I showed up and got the machine, and he sold me both of them, which was great. He wasn't originally. He was going to send me one, but he's like, you're actually here?
Yeah.
Guys, people cancel. Just take
them.
the second one.
Yeah.
You know, which was a lifesaver, because honestly, without that second one, what I found from these machines is someone was taking, especially the second one, was making one machine out of both of them.
Yeah.
And that was the one they were dedicating to build. Good attempt, but it had a lot of jury rigging, like Home Depot like pipes in it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
To give our listener an idea of why this is different than any other arcade machine, what makes it quote unquote the deluxe and so heavy, is this is a arcade machine that you have two guns and shooting in the screen for dinosaurs, right?
Well, it's a sit-down cabinet.
It is a sit-down cabinet that fully encases both players into it in a dark room with full surround sound, a light actuating on front that changes scenes for mooding on the game, as well as two fans overhead to adjust for different pressures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
it's very in-depth.
Yes.
Like it's a pretty deluxe
It's legit.
machine.
yeah.
Yeah.
And to give you an idea of how advanced it was back in the day, the motherboard from this was made by Lockheed Martin, as well as it was the first fully 3D arcade game available.
Oh.
Yeah, shooter arcade game.
Yeah.
So my biggest thing, going back to where I was going, was since it sat for so long, was I found lots of rats' nests in there and a lot of cleaning. And because arcade cabinets are made of wood, it was a lot of sanding down, removing of wood, putting a lot of cleaner 409, urine remover and stuff like that, and getting it out cleaned up and repainting. I have made significant strides on this where now the machine's all together. I bought a new board for it. I'm just going through and doing what I can. Realistically, right now it's just trying to figure out. It's not firing up. I've got some things firing up in terms of wiring, but I feel like I'm missing something, and that's just more diligent time to go through the wire diagram. But it is. I am on track to finish this by this year, if not maybe the first week of January. But we're getting time off soon, so.
No, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. And anyone that's been to my shop has seen like that's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
You know, and it's kind of nice that I think the thing that's also helping me go forward on this so quickly is because all my years of car experience actually translate over well to this. Like, for example, I reupholstered the seat onto it.
Yeah.
Because I've done reupholster on Liger. I was like, okay, we'll do this, and made it just good as new. In terms of electronics and going through, it's just from different wiring that I've done through different projects, and same with painting and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, no, but I'm super excited. Jeremy's gonna love hauling that thing in my shop, in my house. I'll tell you what.
Is it bad that I am not excited for that?
I'll help you move it.
I mean, I'm going to help him.
Yeah.
I'm just not excited.
It's going to take all three of us for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
probably four of us.
I will say this. The one thing is, I didn't know how much it weighed when we got it. I didn't realize how heavy they were. So when we moved them into the trailer originally, and I thank God I had a ramp to get into the car trailer, right? We put them on dollies.
Yeah.
They already had rollers on them, which makes it very light to move around. But those rollers were, at the time, because I put new rollers on them for wheels, were really shitty. So we put on moving dollies underneath them to help move them.
Right.
At one point, we had to get it over a hump in the trailer because it had 2
the
inches
gap in the door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I had my brother and the seller. They were grabbing the thing. I'm like, okay, you guys lift it, and I'll go underneath and grab it and pull my hand out. So they lift it, and they're grunting, and they grab my hand and grab the thing and pull it out. And as soon as it comes out, the thing slams to the ground. And they're like, oh, thank God you were under that. I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, thank God you're out, because that thing was heavy. And then to find out that section alone was over 400 pounds alone.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, man.
The things are big. You posted that picture of the two of them. Those things are
It was massive.
big.
It's almost literally about the size of Liger per one.
Yeah.
There's
the size of a car.
Yeah, the thing that threw me off was when we put them in the trailer, we strapped them down, got all ready to go. I just kind of put them in there because I'm like, okay, these are maybe a couple hundred pounds each, nothing big.
Right.
I didn't even look at my tow hitch to see where the weight transfer is. But as I'm driving back, I'm like, this thing's really wiggly. I don't know what's going on. And it's because we put essentially 2,000 pounds in the trailer and just kind of put it where it just
really
kind of fit.
1,000 pounds a piece?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So that kind of explained why the trailer was it wasn't terrible, not like you and me in the excursion, but noticeable.
Kind of far forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay. But definitely now if I transport again, I know I'm going to do. The problem I've got is now I'm going to have a second cabinet that's going to be empty because we're combining the both to make one functional restore cabinet.
Right.
And the second one I haven't decided what I'm doing with. I don't know if I'm going to donate it to an arcade or see if someone wants to build it. Or if it's something I'm going to, and I don't want to have another project because the other thought was take it and then build another custom cabinet for whatever I want to do. I've got enough car projects as is.
Where the hell would you put a second one?
As into
Next to the
video,
first one.
well,
No, you don't
gotta-
have room.
yeah, you got to figure out your house space and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But as much as you're into video games, I could see putting just a screen in there and putting retro game console.
What I would do with
like
it,
that.
because it fully engulfs the player,
Right.
is I would transform that into a mech simulation game. I already have
That'd be kind of cool.
a rare game that it takes it's called Steel Battalion. I only set it up once every blue moon because it's 37 button controller, 3 pedals, and 3 joysticks. It is a whole ordeal. It takes about 2 hours set up, or the original Xbox. And that was one thing that me and Jeremy talked about, was turning that arcade cabinet into a permanent fixture for that, so I don't have to. It would be this, a mech simulation, or a mech warrior simulation cockpit.
That'd be kind of cool.
But again, it comes to space, and that's, I'm like, gritting my teeth. And it also comes in with the future projects. If I move, what am I going to do with this? Right. It is going to be something I think I'm going to have for maybe a...
Well, if you have a good functioning one, I mean, I know that you're going to be very attached to it.
Yeah.
Maybe not the second cabinet, right?
No, the second cabinet, no. First cabinet.
But the first cabinet for sure. So you're going to have to figure out, like, it's at the worst going to sit in your garage of your new house or whatever. But, you know.
My thing is my friends were telling me, oh, you're going to keep this to your kids. They're going to play it. And the problem is it's not a very long game. I've played it multiple times. I know you could beat it in like 30 minutes or so. Yeah. In fact, when I'm going to be playing it, I'm going to have it coin-based. Anyone playing it has to put the coins in. Because that way there's stakes.
Yeah.
You know? But I think it's going to be a game that I'm not going to play every time and not going to be like always at it. I was thinking if for some reason I need to sell it or get rid of it, it'd be nice to have, because for us and the listeners to know, I found this out recently. It is not a very common game. The stand-up ones are common. Mm-hmm. The big deluxe one, because of how big they are, most arcades start getting rid of them, especially when they start breaking down.
Because they took up the
too much space.
4 or 5
machines. Mm-hmm. Exactly. But it is a completely different experience versus the normal one because of the sound, the lighting, all the jazz. So looking online, there was a scale of rarity of these consoles. 100 being the most common, 1 being the rarest of all. These consoles rated a 9 on them. Yeah. And there's not many left. Again, why they're so expensive.
I wonder what happened to the other 8, that were in that garage. Like, if those guys ever got to use them, or if they were like, no, this is just too much, and they're too...
heavier, yeah.
Or some of them probably got crushed.
Yeah, I would bet some of them went junk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, which is sad for those parts because they're rare.
Yeah.
And probably some
of them are probably
some of them got sold.
Garage.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
And that's the thing is, like, I remember that exact cabinet playing it when I was a kid, and we go every so often see the stand-up one, which is fun, but it is not the same. And I always wondered why it wasn't. And now owning one, I'm like, oh, that's why, because all these little tricks around this make it just that much better.
Yeah.
But I was thinking is, if for some reason I have to get rid of it via space, via moving or whatever, if I can't find an arcade to take it, if I get rid of it at some point.
Yeah.
One thought would be is if I have a friend that eventually own a bar or something like that, or a restaurant, maybe that'd be cool to have it there, someone to play. That way I know I could always come and, enjoy it or have other people.
Well, you might be able, if you know somebody that's willing to put it in their establishment.
Yeah.
I mean, you could actually rent it because you can make money off of the coins, albeit not much.
No.
But I mean, it's got some place to live, and you could actually. But if you decided to sell it too, being that they're so rare, there's a fair amount of money. If you
there's
can
a lot of money for it.
Yeah, if you can actually make that work, that's a good profit.
I don't know about hours wise, but I think money wise right now invested to it, I probably have with the console included, how much it costs? Probably like $700 about. And I probably will go maybe, I think about $900, I'm guessing in total, with a couple more parts I need.
Yeah.
And that's for just Vanity Fair, like for like stickers and vinyl and stuff on that,
Yeah, just to make it look good.
Yeah. And it's, with already what I've got there, I'm surprised how well it already really looks right now. So,
I know what you should do with the second one.
What? Give it to you? Put it in the studio?
No. It won't fit in here.
It wouldn't even fit in here.
No.
We make a car out
It
of
would
it?
fill the entire studio.
Yes.
Put a Hayabusa motor into it?
No. You should turn it into your sim rig.
I got a better idea. What if we put a little motor underneath it?
Wheels on it?
You have awful ideas. We've already heard this.
We could bring it around the track, though.
No.
No, you couldn't.
No. Rob says no. He's the president.
That's right. No driving video games on the track.
Oh,
You could put your sim rig in it. That would be fun.
The sim rig in it would be kind of neat.
Yeah.
You guys haven't seen it in person, have you?
No.
No, just pictures.
I don't think it's not big enough to have a sim rig for it. So
You couldn't put a steering wheel and pedals in that? I bet you could.
Probably, but you'd have to get rid of the so just for our listeners and for you guys to know, the whole structure is made of two joining parts. One is essentially the cage where the seat is. The other section is where the cabinet and the board and all that is. Mm-hmm. So a sim rig could fit that. You'd have to gut the board and that.
Yeah, you're just going to put a console of some kind in it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, though, for like the way that general shape is already, it'd be a waste to get rid of that front area because it'd be good for like controls or cockpit. Like if you've got to put your feet there for space.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand if you make a hole into it, but
Right.
But yeah, it's that's the other thing is
His
it
wheels
would
are
be nice to find someone who could use that to build that. Again, they're very rare.
Yeah.
It's
maybe
like
you can sell it. I mean, honestly, as just the cabinet. Maybe somebody needs a cabinet.
That's the one thing about the Northwest that's very interesting that we don't have compared to the rest of the world is the Northwest is known for classic and retro video games.
There's a lot of it.
Like huge. And that might actually, the expo's coming up, that might be a thing. But regardless, I know I can find someone to take it. That guy that I bought it from, very nice gentleman, but being all the way almost to the Canadian border.
Yeah.
And where he was at his shop, where it was in the middle of nowhere, I could see why someone wouldn't want to come out there. As well as, in order to get it, you need to have a pickup.
Oh, yeah.
And you would need a car trailer.
Yeah.
Like a full car trailer.
Or flatbed trailer or something. You'd have to have a trailer that could haul 1,000 pounds.
Something like that. But, I mean, even for wide, I mean, that's the thing is width and stuff like that. Even,
Yeah, it won't fit in a pickup bed.
No. You could probably fit one if you separate in two and did one section, then the next section.
Oh, yeah.
You could probably do it that way in the pickup. The problem is each section, just of those, weigh 400 pounds alone.
Yeah.
So you're not going to find
100 pounds in the back of the truck.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. It's just loading it is a bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
You'd need your F-250 with the lift deck.
yeah.
Lift gate.
Okay.
So real fast.
well, all right.
Just
Make
saying
it
this.
quick because you had your tangent.
I know. The one goal we got to do now as a group, once that's done, we got to find someone local who's got a Jurassic Park Explorer and take pictures with that.
Well, that's on you.
Okay.
I'm not helping with that project.
I know somebody that's got a Jurassic Park Jeep,
Perfect.
so we could do that.
That'd be fun.
Well, that would work. Last thing. What are you getting yourself for Christmas?
Does it have to be inflatable?
No,
I mean, if that's what
Gross.
you want, bud.
I don't want to hear about this.
Oh. Jeremy, you go first.
What am I getting myself for
Yeah.
Christmas? Oh, man. Actually, I already bought my gift, and
What'd you get?
I bought myself a record player,
Oh, okay.
and I think there will be probably 10 used records I will go find.
Nice. That's always fun to hunt for vinyl.
Yeah,
That's cool. Oh, he's crashing.
Yeah.
he wants pizza.
Yeah. I don't know. My gift to me for Christmas is pretty much that arcade machine.
Okay.
Otherwise, the thing I'm eyeing right now is a set of 410s for Liger.
Oh, yeah.
Gears.
Yeah,
410
410 gears.
gears.
No, that's a good call.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bought a plasma cutter.
Nice.
Ooh, very
Yeah.
cool. What brand?
Some ARC brand. I don't
Okay.
know, some off-brand thing.
Nice.
Cheap one. We'll see. I haven't tried it yet.
Where'd you get it from?
Online.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazon?
No, it was actually from their own website.
Okay.
It got good ratings. I looked it up on like people that did tests on it and that kind of stuff, and seemed good. I was like, perfect, cheap one.
What are you going to use it for? Like, what made you like, I need this now? Was it the price? Was it like,
Well, yeah, it was a really good
plan?
price. It was super cheap, like $300 or something like that,
Oh, wow.
$350. But I've kind of wanted one in the past. Some of the other projects that I've done, I was like, man, what would be really nice is a plasma cutter because I could cut these things out clean, right? And so yeah, it was priced. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna pull the trigger on it because building the adapter plates and stuff for the Viper motor is gonna require some.
I was
stuff.
going to ask you, any updates on that?
No, I haven't purchased the plates. I'm working on the silver car to get that thing on the ground and running.
So,
Okay.
do you have a torch? Gas torch?
Yeah.
It's way cleaner than a gas torch.
Oh, I know.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah. It'll be.
I don't get why you guys
it's a
do it
good
the
tool.
hard way. Just go take your hands and just rip it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, 2 inches thick.
You can just. Do
I've
that?
seen you squat weights. You cannot do that.
Yeah. The gym is very different than the
No,
yard,
it's
I will
not.
tell you what.
Okay, that's it for today. So
Make sure to like us, follow us.
like and follow. Hope everybody has a good holiday season. Possibly we'll have another show. Maybe we're going to miss a week. Don't be surprised if we do. But we'll try to put something out there for you. But anyway, reach out to us, untitledcarproject@gmail.com, or hit us up on all or any of the socials, messaging, and that kind of stuff.
At Untitled Car Project.
I think they know that that's what it's called by now.
Okay.
Don't-
If you're a first-time listener, hit follow on the show. If you've made it this far, you're dedicated.
Yes.
So good job. Thanks for listening to
We
our,
appreciate
High
you.
five.
our rants and raves and that kind of stuff. Thanks, Chris Mayo, for coming on the show. High Octane Dads, check out their show.
Yay.
Good podcast. And that's it. That's it for today.
Don't
Happy
forget
holidays,
to give me
guys.
feedback on what I should buy for Alaska.
Sorry. We already discussed it.
No.
Yeah. The Volkswagen F-150.
No.
Stop the red button.